All right, so here we
Right.
go.
Wait.
So I have no idea how to start this. So
You can do it.
One sunny day,
the uh, the camera fades in on something flying through the air, dark sky illuminated by few stars. Something flying along well above what looks to be some sort of ocean. From a distance, it's hard to gauge its size, but it appears to be moving quite fast. And it appears to be moving toward a landmass along the water. We see it from a distance, hovering back and forth, and it's dipping and raising through the air. And as the camera kind of starts to follow it and tries to track it, from this distance, it looks quite large with quite large wings. We see it dodge a couple of other, maybe birds of prey or other small insects in the air. And as the camera kind of zooms in on it, we see that it just appears to be a dragonfly. We see it dip down and it skims the water. These tiny little wakes forming beneath it. It flies up this kind of steep coast, almost cliff-like, up into a city. And the city is dark for the most part, but you can almost sense the energy. People are starting to move and lights are starting to come on. It appears to be very early in the morning. And we see as the dragonfly starts to zoom through what appears to be a wealthy part of the city. A number of servants are out. They appear to be making preparations for something it's hard to see. And the dragonfly continues zooming down. Fairly, very well maintained, clean streets, straight cobblestones, clean white walls. Mostly made of brick, very little wood here. Stone and greenery as well. It's hard to see in the early morning light, though. The dragonfly passes through the city and it makes its way kind of down into a separate section of the city. This one a little less clean. More wood here. Fancifully painted houses, but in something that clearly wasn't necessarily paint. It's improvised. The streets start to get a little broken here. The cobblestones start to shift a bit. We can see small, repairs done to some of the buildings, and we see more movement here. People are starting to light candles and small torches and things in their houses, and people are starting to move. We still don't see much light coming just yet. And the dragonfly passes some of these windows and sees people rousing and getting dressed. And then the dragonfly makes its way, further down still into what appears to be a very poor section of the city. Quite a bit of movement here. Very little light. Some very poorly made torches. Candles, things of that sort. A lot of people are rousing here. Passes by children and elderly, folks of every age. And the children don't want to wake. The parents are shifting everyone and trying to get moving. We see the dragonfly sort of starts to hover like outside of a window, and we see this kind of broken down, looks like it was formerly burnt kind of building. Maybe a tavern of some fashion. It's hard to say. But there's a fairly heavyset man kind of working at some sort of pot or cauldron. And the dragonfly kind of tentatively works its way into the building. In through the window. And the man kind of looks up and he sees the dragonfly. He's got some sort of very poorly constructed kind of like spoon for stirring or something to that effect. And the man kind of pays attention, like starts to like dodge and is looking at the dragonfly. And we see he's cooking some stew. And then very abruptly, the man takes the spoon and just wails at the dragonfly and nails it. The thing splatters against the wall, and there's just a massive, almost like small explosion of like viscera and green blood and against the wall. And we get a splash screen from the dragonfly's blood, and it just says, Bastion. And then we hard cut to there's a main road and a fairly decent-sized wall with a gate. Some time has clearly passed, and we see hundreds, if not thousands, of people gathered here. There's this long, fairly wide road. This passage, we can reasonably assess is in and out of the city. A road that's only ever really used for one very specific purpose. It might be the same day. It could be months or years from the first scene. Who's to say? But we see that the whole city is gathered here. On this road stands a number of individuals of a number of different races, ages, genders. We see that there are on each side of the road citizens of the city gathered. On the left side, we see a number of people wearing what would constitute very bright clothing. Lavenders, pastels, bright pinks and blues. But again, they're all very washed out, very poorly made. Clearly the resources are lacking for making such proper attire. They have like banners, small flags, again in similar colors. They appear to be cheering and celebrating. There's some celebration happening. On the right side of the street, we see exactly the opposite. A number of civilians all wearing blacks and whites, maybe some brown here and there, but really no color to speak of. They also have banners and flags, but again, only white or black. And they all appear to be in mourning. Somber, rather funereal look about them. The camera starts to kind of pan back into a wide shot, and we see the establishing shot of all these people standing, and there's a raised dais that would head further back into the city, into what we know is the upper echelon, and there a kind of raised dais. Stairs on both sides, kind of a platform, and up there we see a number of very clean-looking people. Families, really. Mostly small. A variety of colors between them, but each of the families have on very fine garb, usually only consisting of about 2 colors, usually in some sort of opposition to one another. There's a small family, a husband, a wife, 2 small children. They're wearing what appears to be navy blue with like white stripes that kind of pop out against the shoulders and the joints. Another family has on maroon, kind of like a very dark red color, splashed up against what appears to be a very like almost like a bright red color, and all of the families kind of have this going on. But standing above them as well, we see what we can only assume are humans, standing overwatching this entire scene. And each of them is wearing a massive, billowing gray robe with a massive gray hood that covers their entire face. We know this as the triad of the city, that they are faceless, they are nameless. Nobody knows who they are. And all of these people are overlooking this entire scene. And on both sides of the road, between the civilians and what we know as the exiles, are guards, all dressed in black, armed as well as they can be armed. Standing above with the nobility are the Crimson Guard, also again decked to the nines, all of their weapons and all of their armor. And there, among the kind of rabble that we see of the exiles, we see a number of humans, tieflings, maybe a few half-elves here and there. We see a woman, middle-aged, maybe early to mid-30s, which is middle-aged in this scene. And she's weeping openly, crying, and she's looking over to the side of the road behind the guards, and there's a family of a husband and 3 children who are just staring at her and trying to reach for her, but being stopped by the guards, and they're all just crying and reaching for one another. Not far from her is a young boy, a teenage boy, probably 13, 14, very scrawny, looks malnourished, appears to be looking around rather frantically, his eyes passing back and forth. what he's looking for is anyone's guess. We also see a man, maybe mid-20s, stronger, looks pretty well muscled, and he seems to be he's in the group of the exiles, but he seems to be exchanging glances with some of the other guards. There's something happening between them, some sort of communication, but it is unspoken. And as some of the exiles are moving around, and there's maybe a couple dozen, they're bumping around, and some of them are just panicked, and a few of them have urinated themselves. The man speaking to the guards, his body is bumped, and we see the young scrawny boy, kind of bump into him. And there's like an angry exchange of glances. And the boy sort of tries to run away, but there's really very, very, no room to run, as it were. And as he kind of like tries to get away from the older man, I think that he bumps into one of you. Which of you does he bump into?
I don't think I'd let him bump into me.
Probably me.
Okay. So Yinkin, he kind of barrels into you, trying to get away from this man. What does he see? Describe your character.
I'm dressed really plainly, just really homespun cloth and really, really banged up leather armor. Considering they've been kind enough to give me that at least.
Mm-hmm.
Brown hair, very, very lightly pointed ears. Brown eyes. Not super tall, but not quite short. Very, almost forgettable. But looking very, very sad. And just hand on the kid's shoulder.
Yeah, and the child kind of gasps looking at you. He kind of like looks up and he like looks around and he just tries to get away from you. And Yinkin, when you kind of watch him, he's trying to kind of like weave between the crowd a bit. And in getting away from you, I think that he probably runs into Marcus. Marcus, all right. You want to describe your character?
Yeah, Marcus is a little under 5.5 feet tall. He's got pointy ears that stick out under a mop of unkempt black hair. What that really signifies him as his elven heritage. The rest of his face kind of looks like it could pass for human. He's got some simple hand-woven clothing, loose-fitting pants, and wears a fine but old elven-made coat, which the right arm of which ends in tatters, and his own right arm is fully wrapped up in bandages. And he has a pretty serene look on his face right now. And he just kind of looks down to the kid and says, "It's no place for children. Go along."
Yeah, and he just kind of looks up at you, and there's a moment where he wants to like squeak as if like he's gonna flee from you. And then his face kind of turns sour. He just sort of grimaces at you. And you know that he's an exile. He's in exile with you. He unfortunately or fortunately belongs here. And he just sort of like looks up at you and gives you this like dirty sneer and then like turns and doesn't run at this point. He just sort of like saunters away through the crowd. He starts to walk away. And I think we see a couple more, the camera kind of pans back a little bit and sees a few more people, members of the exile. And there is kind of an elderly man, like the young boy sort of passes an elderly man who's got kind of a cane, makeshift at best. And the man is just standing pretty solid, probably in his 70s. And he's just kind of standing. His hair is almost completely thinned out at this point. He's got kind of a scraggly beard. He's wearing tattered robes, and he's looking up, and we see that a couple fires have been lit up by the nobility just to give them some light. And we know that the sun is going to come up before long. And the elderly man is just standing there with his cane. And the man seems intently staring at one of the torches on the dais. Who can say why, but his attention is wholly fixed on this fire. And the young boy sort of passes him and kind of makes a reach for the cane, like he's going to try to grab it. And the elderly man just sort of just jerks his hand and like whaps the kid in the forehead with the cane. And the kid just like growls, and you see a couple of the guards come running forth, and the boy just sort of like runs off. Which of you is standing near enough to see this?
Probably Faith.
Okay. Why don't you describe Faith as she sees this happen?
She's a short tiefling, purple reddish skin, horns kind of curl back from her forehead. She's standing tall, chin up, almost arrogant, though her eyes are tired. These black voids that are her eyes probably have circles underneath them. And she's got longer hair about midway down her back, dark, naturally, not tight curly, but kind of wavy. And she just kind of watches the boy go with a slight tilt of her head and looks to the old man, almost waiting to see if he strikes out at her just because.
Yeah, and his attention doesn't seem really deferred. It was just long enough to whack the child, but his attention seems fully fixed on the fire again. And yeah, the man just sort of like kind of shrugs, almost like nothing happened. Just continues watching. And the camera kind of like moves around the crowd a little bit, kind of tries to relocate the boy, but can't find him. And it kind of moves up to a kind of a heavyset bald man that we may have seen earlier. And he's just standing there. He's got some sort of sack. There's probably some grease stains on it. And he's just looking around and just looking stoic. Like he seems unaffected. Whatever's happening. A couple of the guards are keeping very, very steady eyes on this man, as if they're waiting for him to do something. But he's just standing with his grease-stained sack, and he's kind of observing the crowd and observing the guards. And I think maybe we got to fix that. Giselle, I think you're probably not too far from this man. You probably see this, and you see this tension between the guards and this man. Why don't you describe what you look like?
Giselle is a medium height elven woman with bright red hair and glasses. She kind of like keeps pushing them up on her nose a little bit. And she's probably splitting her attention between the fat bald man and what's going on with him, and glaring up at the nobility.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit angrily. She obviously does not want to be here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sure, that makes sense. Yeah, so you're kind of staring up at the nobility, and we're getting very close to the front of the crowd at this point. And we're still hearing the cheers coming from one side and the sobbing coming from the other. And there's just the barest hints of the sun starting to creep up. And it's obvious that daylight will be coming very soon. And there's some rustling going on with the nobility. John, are you not in game, by the way?
I am in game.
Some of us had to refresh because Roll20 was doing silly things.
That was
Oh,
Yeah, I got kicked out.
I do have a red thing at the top. Your connection, blah blah blah.
Oh,
It
there
just
you
went
are.
away.
Okay. So we're closer to the nobility now. We see the nobility rustling a bit, and I think up toward the nobility, the triad, the members of the triad in the robes aren't moving at all, but some of the nobility is starting to move. That something's beginning to happen here, and we see some movement. We see some people moving around and some discussion going on up on the dais. And where close to that do we find Gabriel?
As far as where,
like, I'm assuming he would be pretty close to the dais. Like, he's not on the dais with them; he's in exile too. But I'm assuming he's probably close to them. I think, in fact, what we see, if I may, is we see an elderly woman, and behind her are two very beautiful young people that we as players recognize as Aasimar, but some of the party might not. Some of the citizens, they recognize that they're almost too beautiful, and this woman is standing, and there's a couple of other nobles, right near her, and these two Aasimar are standing behind her, and they just look like timid and scared. And this woman is just sort of growling, and like she looks simultaneously shamed and just furious. And I think what attracts us to her is this her viewpoint is staring intently down at Gabriel, who is not far down in the crowd. And when she stares down at you, Gabriel, like, describe what you look like.
To first see him, there's something almost incomprehensible about Gabriel's appearance. He can best be described as supernaturally attractive. He's chiseled yet soft, charming face. He stands larger in posture than what you would perceive a standard human would. He's unnaturally sculpted and toned. He's about 6'4", around 240 pounds. Almost alien in his aesthetic. His physique is almost too well defined to be natural. He is wearing fine clothing. It's kind of torn across the front, revealing that, again, he has very unnatural golden skin, and it's covered in what appears to be an elaborately designed dragon tattoo all the way across his torso and his chest. He has golden pupilless, mirrored eyes. I doubt anyone's ever seen anything like that before. He has tawny golden brown flowing hair. It's well kept, pulled back at about shoulder length. And though he appears disheveled, especially his clothing, outwardly he betrays a very confident and poised demeanor. His grace, his charm, undeniably, he makes him stand out in the crowd. He does not look like he would be involved in a ceremony like this. Just looking up to the dais, he probably just kind of gives a few glaring looks, and then upon seeing the other Aasimar, he kind of almost like a knowing smile and gives a wink, and just kind of carries on.
Yeah, and I think we see you look it up at them, and you wink, and the two of them begin to smile, but immediately there's some sort of like very fast response up on the dais, and they sort of like have to wipe the smirks away from their face very quickly. And as our vision is kind of on them, we see a woman behind them kind of step forward. Again, nobility. She appears to be like middle-aged, maybe a little older, 60s. Gray hair, and all of the nobility are quite done up. And she's no exception to that. Excuse me. And she kind of steps forward, and she has a scroll in her hand. And she kind of turns with her back to the crowd, and she looks at the triad. And without words, there's an interchange, and all of the triad all at once, just take a very mild nod at her. And she nods back, and she turns, and she comes to face the crowd. And a couple of the nobles on the far sides raise their hands straight up in the air, and there's like a hush that goes across the entire crowd. And we can all see her quite well, even if maybe some of the people in the further back have a difficulty hearing her. The entire city is quiet. The cheering has stopped. The weeping has stopped. Everyone has full eyes on this woman. And a couple of you might recognize her. One of you will most assuredly recognize her, which is Faith. You recognize this woman, I think, almost immediately. This is Lady Beryl Presbalar, a certain young man's mother, and of the noble houses. She steps forward and unrolls the scroll in a fashion that indicates that this is probably the scroll that is used at every one of these events. It's very practiced, and she unrolls it, and everyone is just completely hushed. I think there's a moment where there's like a moment where that young boy in the crowd is still trying to like find a way out of this. And I think we just very abruptly see one of the guards take like a billy club effectively and just knock him on the head, and he just collapses to the ground. He's not dead, but he's going to be hurting. And there's a brief little moment there, and then everything hushes again. And the woman begins to speak. Citizens of Bastion, our salvation stands before us. And she gestures with her arms wide at all of you, the exiles. Your sacrifice brings glory and life to our fair city. We look upon you, not with pity, but jealousy, in the knowledge that you will return to us, victorious in your task of restoring this great city to its former majesty. Your road will be long. Your path will be perilous. But you must always remember that your travels will return you here. Your strength is our strength. Your success will be our success. We watched you leave as citizens that you may return as heroes. And there's an abrupt, massive cheer across the entire city. The weeping folks, the celebratory folks, everyone, just this massive wave, the voluminous sound that cascades down this road. And everyone begins cheering, and we have this very odd scene where everyone on the sides of the road is cheering and happy and applauding, and everyone in the center, who presumably is paralyzed by fear and doubt and dread. And as the camera pans across all of these folks down toward the large gates that exit the city, we see that the sun has just crested enough of the city that it's begun to illuminate this entire road, leading all the way down to the gate. And as it does so, a number of guards just break off and start to pass the door open so that the sun can pass out into the open, illuminating your path outside of Bastion. The applause happens for a few moments. And then the guards begin pushing on all of you. In some cases, quite violently. Yinkin, I believe that you were closest to the gates, effectively.
Yeah, I'm going to cast one last look towards the black and white side in mourning and find my family.
And I think your family has probably all put on strong faces. You know, they know, and you know, quite frankly, that this is very possibly the last time you will ever see them. But they have on stern expressions, and I think your son gives you a strong nod, as strong as he can. Do you walk out, or do you wait for the guards to push you?
I give them a little nod, the whole family, one last look at my wife, and then just as the guard is about to push me, I put my hand up and I'll take the steps out.
Okay, so you begin to walk out as the sun illuminates your path. And we see, you know, some of the exiles are trying to fight, but having no success against the guards. And then we come back to Marcus.
Marcus stares straight ahead. He doesn't bother looking around. There's only one person that would miss him, and she's not going to be here. And he takes a second, takes a deep breath, and then just strides forward towards the gate.
Okay. Yeah, and we see more of the exiles fleeing out, and then we see Faith.
Lifting her chin a little higher still, she'll scan the noble side of things for a certain man.
And
see if she can find him.
And, well, you find him easily because he's not standing far behind his mother, who just gave the speech. And he is just wearing a scowl. But also, he appears to be in a, let's call it a perpetual state of being chided. But he is wearing the noble regalia as everyone else is. More anger and frustration than shame on his face. You can probably see him. I don't know that he can see you.
And seeing him and seeing him in that state, there's a sudden softness that comes to this arrogant kind of mask she's put up. Maybe even hopeful. And before she could be shoved too hard or have the lyre that's strapped to her back broken in the crowd, she's just gonna, roll her shoulders and push forward, maybe even pushing through the crowd to get out of the city.
Okay. Yeah, and we see Faith as she begins to leave, and we cut to Giselle.
She scans the crowd, I guess, quickly, looking for her twin. Probably doesn't see her because she's kind of a bitch. And she just kind of hugs her books to her chest. And they don't really need to push her out. She just, straightens her back and walks towards the gate. Just kind of mumbling under her breath. Curses.
Yeah, and as everyone else is leaving, all of the exiles are on their way to the gate. We see Gabriel. And Gabriel, I think that as you're kind of like looking up, you're seeing the Azamar, and you see another young human woman. And she appears very clearly to be suppressing tears, and she's trying not to look at you, but obviously having a difficult time of it. And that woman who was grimacing at you earlier is just giving you what can only be described as a death glare. Like, if she could kill you with her eyes, she would.
Seeing the glares from the woman, another, just almost like a smirk comes across my face. As I look at the younger woman, I put 2 fingers to my lips and kind of like blow a kiss, just holding them out to her. Again, just giving a wink and a smile.
Yeah.
And head through the doors.
Yeah. And so you guys all pass through as the light illuminates your path. The doors are opened wide for you all to leave. And as Gabriel and the other exiles who were near him are the last to leave, the gates are very abruptly slammed shut by a couple dozen guards. And you can hear them lower the crossbar on the far side. And you are outside of Bastion for what is presumably the first time in your life.
Everybody panic!
And I think that the young boy that we saw earlier is also standing close to the gates. And he's just looking around frantically, not sure what to do. And we see the bald-headed man with his grease-stained sack, and the young boy kind of runs over and tries to snatch it from him. And this man, he's not small by any stretch, and he just sort of, the older man just grabs the young boy around the neck and basically throws him up against the wall, and his whole body, you hear the thud of his flesh hitting this wall, and the young boy falls to his knees. And the old man looks down at him, kind of looks up at everyone else. This is life now. Best of luck to all of you. And he just sort of starts to trot off And you're all left. There's a number of exiles who are sort of huddled together. Everyone's, exchanging frantic glances, not sure what's next. Every one of you has a pack, presumably some food. What do you do?
What
I'm
do we
gonna go to
see? Sorry.
I was just gonna go to the boy and help him up, kind of like just knock dirt, whatever's on him, just kind of knock it off, make sure he's okay.
Okay. And yeah, as you begin doing that, why don't you make a roll for me?
He's gonna pickpocket me.
Yeah, I think a perception roll.
Can I do that as well, since I'm kind of watching Gabriel
boy.
angrily?
I get the first roll of
That's
the
the
game.
reason I am here.
It's not bad.
Yeah, so you actually see as the young boy's hand, as you're trying to help him up, and almost you realize looking at him that it's reflexive. Like he almost has no control of it. His fingers just start to worm their way into your bag.
I just kind of, not roughly, but I'll grab him by the wrist to stop his hand, and I kind of lean his head back so that he has to look at me, like, in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell him, this is a new world now, and this world is what we make of it. If this is what you want to continue to do, then this is what your world is going to be. But you have a chance to change your stars. You have a chance to change your life, starting right now. And I just kind of send him on his way, kind of thing.
Yeah, and he just looks angry. Like, he looks so angry. But he's smart enough not to try to, like, fight you. He's way too small for that. And yeah, Giselle, you see that exchange. Also, Gwen, if you wouldn't mind, can you change your nameplate?
Oh, sure.
Your display name, just because I keep wanting to call you Gwen. But yeah, Giselle, you see that exchange. Thank you.
She's mostly just watching. She's kind of angry. Basically giving Gabriel the stink eye.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, I think you see that the young boy sort of looks at some of the other exiles as if looking for support, like looking for some sort of moral support. What is everyone else doing while that happens? Faith, I think you were going to do something.
Yeah, so Faith is gonna walk again. She pushes through the crowd a bit and gets away from the press of bodies, knowing well what she is and thinking less of the people around her, thinking herself an easy target. She's gonna move off and try to get her bearings. She's gonna look around, see what's around her. But as she does so, she pulls the lyre from her back. It's old. It's worn, maybe more than old. But the strings are good, the wood is solid, and she kind of hugs it to her chest, almost as if to keep herself from panicking as she does this. And she just kind of holds it tight. And her steps slow as she looks around, because she's not sure where to go. She's not sure what to do. She knows the pack on her back doesn't have much. Presumably it was thrown at her from the guards, but she's got 5 days' rations. And some pretty clothes. It's not much at all. And she's just... She doesn't have pupils, so it's kind of hard to read anything from the black eyes, but the corners show panic. The once arrogant mask is cracking very slightly as she's not sure where to go or what to do. And she doesn't even have any clue of how to begin to find where maybe previous exiles have gone, in hopes of maybe they found something and she can just follow them.
Okay. Yeah, and I think what you see looking around, all of you see whenever you take the opportunity to observe, as has been established, you can see what appear to be maybe some mountains to the south, also going west. But they're at quite a distance. As you exit the gate, You see that outside of the city, inside of the city, things aren't well. But, vegetation is still there. There's still some trees, even if some of them are a bit weak and thin. But immediately upon exiting the gates, the land here is barren. There is no green here. There might be a few trees that have absolutely no leaves on them. They're just, dead men walking, as it were. This land appears, for lack of a better word, bad. Very little soil for growing, no trees, very little vegetation. It's going to be a rough go. And I think that's apparent to all of you. While Faith and maybe others are observing that, Yinkin, what are you doing, aside from looking at your wedding ring?
I am, after taking a solid couple of minutes, just staring at the what to me is hell in front of me. Eventually, just very, very quietly, I don't know what is out here, but it's harder to kill many people than it is to kill one.
Do you say that to anyone in particular, or just out loud?
Out loud to whoever is nearest.
'Tis true.
And while you're saying that, Marcus, what are you doing?
I think so. How close is a cliff edge where I would be able to see out over the ocean from the gate that we just exited?
A couple miles.
Okay. I guess once we're outside, I would have stopped and I would have turned back and looked inside, or looked back, at the gates, realizing now what I have volunteered for. Looking back around over the crowd of, a bunch of strangers who are all in the same position now. And hearing what Yinkin has said, I would maybe in a little louder, kind of addressing the crowd as a whole, say, that man is right, and I think we should stick together. The mountains might be a good place to find water.
Shelter as well.
Faith will just start walking towards the mountains.
I will open my magic book. And I am going to cast the mage armor on myself.
Okay.
Yinkin, seeing that, would actually
Scary.
have a moment where he almost goes to take a step away before, visibly scolding himself and stopping.
She gives him a little wink. They do not know I am a wizard.
I think Gabriel's kind of overlooking the crowd and seeing how everyone's kind of migrating, if everyone's separating in certain groups or anything like that.
Yeah,
Maybe
there's
even looking for people he might recognize, or
Yeah, there's maybe 2 or 3 large groups forming. You see that middle-aged woman from before who was crying in the city. She seems to have saddled up next to that kind of muscular-looking man, and he seems to be drawing more of a crowd. And he steps forward. Well, doesn't step forward. Everyone kind of surrounds him, and it's obvious that whoops. Oh. Sorry. So everyone's crowding around and you see it, and he appears to be stretching and you know, shifting his bag around, and he kind of like raises his voice and he speaks. The rumors you've heard are true. I was a member of the Black Guard of Bastion. And he like pauses as if expecting applause, but there is none.
I'm assuming that's like the elite Crimson Guard.
No. He's regular guard. He's not Crimson Guard.
They were the
Okay, other way
bullies.
around.
They were
Yeah.
the dickheads in the
They're
town.
the dickheads. He says,
Thank you.
I aim to survive. I will lead you. I volunteered for this because I know in my heart of hearts that I can lead you and us to victory, to success, to survival. Those who would join me. And
Has Faith... Sorry.
No, go ahead.
In the circles that she was running in under her guise, did she hear any rumors about the fact that things in Bastion are not good from the nobles?
I think it's reasonable that you would be aware that things are not well there. I don't know if that answers your question.
I guess, would Faith have a better idea that this kind of exile thing is just a ruse? Would it reinforce her own negative feelings about this entire thing more strongly, would you think?
I don't know that I want to answer that. Like, if you feel like it would reinforce that, that's totally fine.
Okay.
I do have a question about how many exiles are there? I mean, we know there's the 5 of us, but
Yeah.
There's probably a few dozen. Like, I would say 2 to 3 dozen. Maybe
Okay.
30 to 40.
It's a lot of people.
Yes, it is. And this guard is sort of starting to pull people away, and people seem to be attracted to his sort of strength, you know, the charisma of his personality. He says, I am to go west. Those of you that will join me, and he like raises his arm, and he just starts like marching more or less directly west, maybe west, northwest, a little bit. And from what you can see, I mean, there are mountains, but the mountains that are closer are south, southwest, but he's moving like more north, northwest.
Go to your death, little man.
And like, if you say that loud enough for him to hear, he'll kind of just yell,
Yeah.
We will see one another on the other side. And he just like keeps marching.
Only if you survive first.
Yeah, and a number of people do stay with him. That older woman. There is the young boy is still hanging around because for reasons that should be obvious, he doesn't want to be near a blackguard. And you know, a number of other people. Maybe like there's probably less than 10 left. A lot of people have gone with him, or seem to be going with him.
Well, as annoying as he is, he has it right. We can't stay here. As some of you have already mentioned, we need to find shelter. We need to find clean, drinkable water. We need to
know
find
nothing of the Black
food.
Guard if you think going with him is a good idea.
I'm not implying that we go with him, but we
Agreed.
certainly can't stay here.
I can... Does anybody have an axe or something to cut some of that dead wood with? And out of character, what season is it? Is it going to get really cold soon?
Shit, sorry. I meant to point that out. It's actually spring.
Oh, good.
Okay, good.
I'm wearing torn clothing and stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I totally forgot to. I did actually write that down, and I guess I forgot to tell you this. And every festival is given a slightly different name. Some of them they rotate, but this is the Festival of Spring Eternal. Because they're giving you basically the best chance of success. They're letting you go as early in the morning. You're going to have the most hours in the day, or, you know. So that basically what's happened is the snow has just recently stopped falling. It's still a little chilly early, but you know that it'll warm up as you begin to travel.
Yeah. Okay. Then we will need firewood for the night.
I have a spare dagger. and very little use of it.
I know
And she'll pull it out of
nothing.
her pack and offer
I
it.
think we need to find cover first. I think
I can start fires. Does that help?
before we just start carrying wood, we need to find shelter, whether it's a cave or I would recommend something with a single entrance, something that's easy to defend. But we need to find shelter before we collect wood.
Fair. I'm not used to surviving without a shelter, so it did not occur to me.
And again, I'm not in favor necessarily of following him, but I do think the mountains are going to be the right approach.
Would they be cold?
Well, not necessarily going into the mountains, but at least the foots we're more than likely to find a cave or something that we could hunker down in. Once we establish some shelter, some food, a source of water, then we can start to branch out and explore the land a bit more. But survival needs to come first.
Sounds like a well thought plan.
Indeed. And if it seems we are to be traveling together, I am Yinkin.
Yinkin, it's nice to meet you. I'm Gabriel. I just go up to shake his hand.
I'll shake it.
And then turning to anyone around him. Again, anyone that's willing, shake their hand.
Marcus,
Faith watches
hold out
you,
my
but
hand.
narrows her eyes. Doesn't actually introduce herself yet.
But I'll say Marcus and hold up my left non-bandaged hand.
Giselle glares at Gabriel. You're the reason I am here.
You're the reason that you're here, same as the rest of us.
You got me captured.
You got yourself captured. We all make our own decisions in life.
Yes, well, they caught you and they caught me and because of you.
Off to the side of this squabble, there's just a light plucking of a lyre as Faith just kind of starts to play, so as she thinks and kind of comforts herself.
You can argue while we walk, I think.
I am Giselle, by the way.
What did they catch you for?
I am a spy. Have you heard of the Whispers?
I've heard people whisper.
Well, I do the best whispers in Bastion.
You did.
I did. Till I met this one.
Just laughing. Shaking my head. Ah. We can certainly walk and talk. I think it's important that we reach an area that we can actually sit down and discuss things further.
Sean, when you said there were only about 10 people left, did that include the 5 of us? So there's like the 5 of us, the boy, and then like 4 or 5 other...
Yeah, a few others. Yeah, the boy's still with you. He's kind of lingering, and he's definitely trying to keep away from Gabriel. There is a young woman, probably late teens, early 20s, and just a couple other random folk.
I think I'll walk over to them if they're not kind of... Seeing as how the 5 of us are kind of circling up and introducing ourselves, I don't know if they've come over or not, I'm going to say.
I think like as you guys are introducing yourselves, I think the young boy actually walks up, and I think Giselle, he walks up to you, and he reaches out to shake your hand.
She kind of like looks at him like, you're not going to pickpocket me, are you?
And he just like this big smile crosses his face. And he raises his hand to you. He says, "I'm Jalen."
I will cut off your hands if you touch my purse.
It's like, and he just like his whole body size, and he just like sort of trods off. He's trying to like find someone else who doesn't.
I'd say to go away.
And he just like, Jesus, is somebody dying? He says like, no. He's like, Yeah, he just walks away. Like he's just trying to find someone else who won't be like immediately distrusting of him, basically.
I literally just saw him try to pickpocket Gabrielle.
Yeah, no, I know. He's not a very smart boy.
Apparently not.
Yeah, so are you guys starting to move?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you? I'll send my rat out as well in a different direction.
Which direction?
Can I have him follow the Blackguard guy?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
All right, I'm gonna have him
Now-
follow the Blackguard guy for a while.
We'll have to ask some questions here because, Shun's not intimately familiar with all the rules. You have like a mile? Can you talk to that thing yet or no?
I have 100 feet, so I'm not gonna be able to talk to him until he comes back. So I'll just have him follow for now.
Okay. All right. That works.
Report
And
back
you guys
later.
are, I guess I should, I'll have to make you guys a token that can be like a group token. But you're heading for the moment just southwest?
We pretty much have to. We're on a
Yeah.
peninsula, so we're
Well,
Kinda-
you can come out and you could go north. I mean, it's, north, northwest, west, southwest, more or less like directly south along the coast. It's up to you. I just want
I
to be
think-
clear.
I think we want to head towards the foothills. Again, I think, at least me personally, I think we need to find like a cave, something for shelter that's going to be easy to defend, something with just like one entrance, one exit.
Okay.
That's
Marcus-
my recommendation, at least.
Thinking of going the similar way, but not for defense, just for if there's freshwater rain, it would pool in the mountains.
Okay. I mean, it'll probably take you a few days of travel to get to the mountains.
Yeah,
And like I
but
said, the land
that's-
here is still pretty rough. It's going to be that way for a little while.
but he thinks there's better shot finding some sort of fresh water in the mountains than there is
Mhm.
in whatever else is out there, or the coast of salt water.
Sure. Okay. So yeah, you guys begin your travel southwest, and
Faith lingers behind to see which way they go first.
okay.
Before we head out, too, I would also address just the remaining people and said, we're going to head to the mountains. You're all welcome to follow if you don't have anywhere else, any other ideas for yourselves.
And the young girl, the one who's late teens, early 20s, she kind of nods and doesn't say anything, and she's going to go with you. The young boy will go with you, yeah, like you have a few other folks. I think the elderly guy with the cane he's there, and he's just like, he looks a bit lost. Whenever the Blackguard left, he just stayed. Like I think he might follow you, but I don't know. He doesn't seem terribly communicative, but he's there, and there's a couple other people, and for the moment they'll head with you. I mean, they're not going to be left behind, right? So
I'm just making sure to extend the offer that we're not,
Mhm.
that they're welcome as if they choose to, but they're
so
not.
not like if you
forcing.
follow us, we're gonna kill you.
Yeah, like, if you're welcome to follow us and help. If we find shelter, you're welcome to share it.
Okay.
Can I come up behind the boy
Yeah.
stealthily?
I think like what he's doing is he's been kind of like circling the young woman, like looking at her bag and everything. And I think the reason he's distracted, so you're able to come up behind him.
Does he have anything that looks like it would be easy to like just grab off him?
I mean, he has.
Pickpocket?
Say again.
I would like to pickpocket this little shit.
You can try.
I have sleight of hand. I'm proficient in it.
Okay.
Just Sal's a jerk.
Yeah. All right. Go ahead and roll.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
I'm not even gonna roll for him. Yeah. So like he's focused on the young woman, and you come up, and he has a bag like everyone else. He basically has like an explorer's pack. It's pretty big for him. What do you take? You can't take all of it.
I'm gonna take his rations.
I'll let you take some. Not all of his
The
rations.
worst
I'm gonna take-
person.
Okay, I'm gonna give it back to him. Let's just say that.
But yeah,
I'm gonna
you
steal
can
his
take
rations.
you can like reach in and you can take a few. Like he wouldn't keep them all
I'm
in
gonna-
the same place.
I'm
You
gonna
can-
take his rations and then I'm gonna tap him on the shoulder. Young man.
And he like immediately spins around. It's like, what?
She shows him the little packet of rations she just took out of his bag. I believe you're missing something, young man.
And he looks confused. His first assumption is not that you stole them from him.
Check your pack.
And I think he just looks like tears begin to well up, and he looks like a sad puppy. Like he legitimately looks like he's gonna start bawling.
No, calm down.
And
calm
he's
down.
he's like, unless you try to you're gonna have to roll for it, but
He's
gonna
giving him his rations back.
he's gonna start to bawl. He's gonna
You're
say,
still bullying him.
yeah. I mean, he's like a small kid. He's like 13 years old. He's like
Oh God.
his eyes
is
are
right.
just welling up with tears, and
Now calm down.
and he starts to do that kid thing where he's like, and I think maybe some of you hear him. He's like, she's trying to kill me.
I am not trying to kill you. I am trying to teach you a lesson. Perhaps you should keep an eye on your own pack instead of other people's.
He's like, why are you gonna kill me? Are you gonna eat me?
Do I look like a dragon?
But and he's choking up and he can barely talk.
I'm getting his hypnotic gaze on him.
Jesus Christ, why don't you just try to roll charisma or something?
And you people call me the demon.
Good God, we are not off to a great start.
It's Gwen, what do you expect?
I
Calm
know,
down,
really.
child.
Gwen, whose character sheet isn't completely done, which is good.
Yes.
It's not. You don't have any traits, ideals, bonds, or flaws.
Yeah, I don't usually put those in until I played for a little while.
You could roll persuasion for me.
I guess I'll roll persuasion.
You could try to hypnotic gaze him. I'm not going to stop you.
I have a 0 in that. I'll try that first, I guess. Jeez.
Yeah, and he's still sobbing, and you're trying to calm him down, and he just reaches up and snatches his stuff back, and he's like, I don't like you, and you can see the stains from his tears on his face through the dirt.
Do you know who I am?
I don't care. And he stands up and he marches off away from you. He's going to try to catch up with everybody else.
Perhaps now he will look at his own bag more than other people's.
Yeah. And Faith, you're still staying behind. You're waiting for everyone else to go before you follow them.
I wait for them to take off, and then I'm going to follow behind, but I don't want anybody behind me, essentially. So I'm keeping, I'd say, 20 feet of distance as I follow.
Yeah,
But I'm sure shit not going with the blackguard.
Right. But I also think, if you're following that far behind, the old man with the cane is going to be between you and the group. It'll be the group and then him and then you.
That's fine.
Yeah, and he's pretty slow, obviously. I mean, a cane's going to slow him down.
Is he limping or anything, or just slow?
He's just slow.
Okay.
He's
The other old person slow.
Yeah. Forgets that he leaves his blinkers on, that kind of thing. So, yeah. You guys start heading southwest. Who's in the lead? Marching order? I know Faith is in the back.
I think if he didn't do so, I think Marcus had probably one of the better ideas, other than just survival, with knowing about the water and the mountains. So if he's not in the front, or if he is, I'd probably be traveling with him or near him.
I would definitely be up towards the front after,
Yeah, just because I feel more comfortable around him right now.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So, I guess I could fix that, but I'll fix that later. And then where are Yinkin? Are Yinkin and Giselle kind of in the middle there?
I'm probably slow, so I probably start out in the middle and then slowly get towards the back.
Okay.
Because I don't like walking.
Yeah. And Yinkin?
Middle, but towards the front. Again, not the exact middle, a little bit towards the front.
Okay.
But looking up and trying to figure out what the weather's going to be, too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it looks like it should be a pretty calm day, at least thus far. It's still early in the morning. You guys have probably been outside of the gates, I would say, for half an hour to an hour, trying to figure all this stuff out. So the sun is definitely creeping up. In terms of hours, I would say it's maybe 7. So you've got a full day ahead of you. and you begin to march.
Yeah, not treating it like a forced march. I think throughout it, I'm kind of looking around, especially if anyone that's looking kind of downtrodden. I'm trying to say positive things. It's not that bad, we have our futures to look out for. This is this is probably for the best. We need to make the best of this, kind of pointing out different traits of everyone that's with us. Yeah, we have a really strong group. I have a very good feeling about this. Very good.
Okay.
Just trying to keep everyone's hopes
All
up.
right, Dad.
Okay.
Whenever Gabriel regroups with Marcus towards the front after spreading some kind words, I will just kind of give him a nod and say, "You're doing a good thing."
It's the least we can do. If the people stay motivated, they're gonna wanna live. They're gonna want to survive. So it's best for all of us to stay positive. It's not just about being a good person. It's important for our survival.
Okay.
We're all in this together.
Yes, we are.
So, yeah, you guys begin to head southwest. Marching, talking. Maybe getting to know each other, and a couple of you, I think we established, kind of know each other. I mean, our obviously Giselle knows Gabriel. Does anyone else know anyone else? Have we established that yet? Or
They probably don't know that they know me.
Well, I think I might
No.
recognize Faith if she has had her loot repaired by me, but I probably
Oh,
don't know her. I think
Yeah.
when I see the tiefling with the loot, I'm probably thinking, I think I fixed that once, but
Yeah.
no.
That's definite a possibility. If you get a closer look at it, it might even have your mark. She would probably, if she found somebody to actually work on it, that she'd keep bringing it back to the same person.
Would I know who Faith actually was? Since I'm a spy.
I don't know.
I'd say depending on where her whispers come from, I
Mostly,
especially
among the
given who
nobility.
the guy is, maybe that's something that the whispers might pick up on. Hence his dour appearance at the
I mean, if it's
ceremony.
something that would embarrass nobility, I mean, she could have probably been the one that turned you in.
Me? No, I was caught. We're just gonna put it that way.
I doubt anybody would know me out of the group, the actual players group. But I'd probably be one of those people that, if you looked at me a couple of times, oh yeah, I remember you from Market Day or something like that. But nobody actually more than, hey, here's a carrot.
Aren't you a gardener too?
Yes. Again, I'm recognizable, but not someone you'd ever really talk to.
Yeah, the only way I would know Yinkin is if he did work, I guess, in the upper city.
If you
probably
trimmed your bush.
around.
Which
Yeah,
I did.
if he trimmed-
I did.
if he-
But only at one
if he
specific
manscaped
noble.
me, yes.
Absolutely. You have no idea how much that verge that needed trimming.
I've been good for a while. I had to crack.
And then, as far as Faith, if there are any, the only, I guess, way I would recognize her is she plays any specific songs, original music that I may have heard if she played in the upper city.
Not yet.
And it wouldn't be oh, I know who she is. It's, I've heard that song before kind of thing.
Or even maybe a thing where you've heard that voice before, unless Faith really changed her voice, which is, I think,
No,
something you can
she's
do.
mostly instrumental. Her singing was rare, just because she knew she couldn't do it for both. So her
Right.
singing was essentially request only. She mostly played, maybe danced.
Okay. She mostly played EDM. So yeah, you guys have been traveling maybe for a couple hours. The land is not getting any better. The land is still, it's blasted in some parts. This is very much Badlands. There's no water. As you're moving southwest, you're seeing the occasional dead tree, maybe the remains of some plant. Very occasionally, you might see off in the distance something that might look like a kind of some sort of beast, but at the distances you're seeing them, they're keeping away from you. It's kind of hard to make them out. You're seeing very little movement out here. And it ends up kind of having a weird effect on your mind because, this is all new for all of you. You're seeing other people's shadows move, and maybe you're getting a little jumpy. As the sun creeps up, it's messing with the shadows, and maybe there's a few clouds coming overhead, but very little movement out here at all. And some of the folks that are coming with you, even after just like an hour or two, are already starting to lag behind. They're getting quite tired. And that's only going to get worse as the day gets longer. As the sun comes up and gets hot, it's only going to make traveling worse. Yeah. So you guys just continue marching.
I'm assuming we take a midday break just because, again, we all know the heat of the day is bad, and eventually we need to take a break. You can't just walk for 16 hours.
True. I mean, you could certainly try, but that would have adverse effects. So, you guys walk basically until about lunch. There's really nowhere to take cover. There are, I'm not sure how to describe it because I'm not a geographer, but there are kind of dips in the land, but they don't necessarily create caves. If anything, it would probably be more dangerous to hang out down there in case something showed up. Would be harder to get out, but you could, in theory, weave between these, the Badlands. No real water to speak of. Very little shelter, if any. You guys take a little break. What do you do, if anything?
Still keeping her distance, Faith would find some place to sit, and again, just music. It's gonna be her comfort for the time being. Nothing. It almost sounds like she's trying to compose something new. Just because it's ding, 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 ding. Just kind of like play a chord, stop, change the chord a little bit, move to the next chord.
Mm-hmm. And I think the old man he doesn't even appear to sit when you guys take a rest. He just kind of leans on his cane. He's within maybe 10 feet of you, 15 feet, keeping his distance, but he's still maybe closer than others. And he just kind of leans on his cane. He says to you, "You're gonna die out here."
We're all going to die out here.
You're going to die before most. And there's like a little smile that crosses his face.
She just kind of blinks at him. You think I'm not aware of that? I've been dead since the moment I was caught.
And like there's a look on his face that it's like an exasperated sigh. He just like stares at you for a moment. He says, "You're no fun at all." And he just kind of like turns and turns his back on you.
And that Faith, like the corner of her lips kind of curl up as soon as his back's turned, just because she knew that's what he was going for, and she wasn't going to let him get to her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the rest
she just goes on playing.
Mm-hmm. And the rest of you, sit down, maybe grab like a little bite, a little bit of water, trying to preserve as much as.
I actually, when people go to start breaking out their rations, I'm going to hold a hand up. We should save those.
And like I think as you're saying that, Yinkin, the young woman has like brought up her skin to her lips, like she's going to start taking a little swig of water, and she stops and stares at you. She says, "You wish us to die?"
I am going to put both hands together and just very gently blow on them. And when I open them up, I'm going to have food.
Okay. All right. So you create good berries.
That's
Nice.
a neat trick. Can you teach it to me?
If I knew how I did it, I would.
Hmm.
And I'm just going to eat one just to show that they're completely safe, and then start handing them out to everybody.
Yeah, and
I thought you said there were about 10 of us, yeah? Like
Yeah.
9, 10?
there are, yeah. So you hand out a berry to everyone, and the
Yep.
young woman, she kind of takes it, and she's like studying it. She's got it between her finger and her index, her thumb and an index finger, and she's just like staring at it, and she's just watching you as you like chew yours.
Yep. I don't know why, but they stave off hunger for me all day when I need them.
Faith takes hers and waits till Yinkin walks away, but then just sets it aside. Like she's gonna bring it with her, so she like puts it in her bag or something, but she doesn't need it at this moment.
Okay. The young boy Jalen just runs up, like snatches one out of your hand, like runs away and like immediately like eats it. And Gabriel and Marcus, Giselle, do you take one?
Yeah, I'm gonna take one because that's a cool trick. I want to
Yeah.
learn how to do it.
Yeah, as soon as he hands me one, I'll just eat it without a second thought.
Yeah, I'll take
So
it.
thank you.
It's extremely helpful. This is going to be very useful to us. Well done.
Yes, well, it got me exiled, so it better be useful. And very bitterly, but as he just keeps handing out the berries.
And the young woman just like, after, specifically I think after watching Gabriel eat his, she will eat hers. But she's real tentative about it. She chews very slowly. The old man kind of like hobbles up to you with his cane, and he just looks at it. He kind of glares at you with a little bit of like frustration, and he just like reaches down and like snatches one from you and like turns and like, just frustrated kind of hobbles away. But you don't see him put it in his mouth.
You're welcome, grandfather, as he keeps walking.
Yeah, and I think he just kind of makes this, like, with his back to you, he raises his free arm and just kind of, like, makes this dismissive hand gesture at you. And he just hobbles away. Yeah, so you guys take your little break and get some good berries. And, yeah, off again, I assume?
No, all we need is water.
That will be this evening.
Interesting.
And yeah, again, no, I wouldn't think it's a long break. So.
Well, yeah, I just want to clarify a mechanical thing. I was operating under the assumption that Goodberry gave you food and water.
No,
No,
No.
I don't
Just
think so.
food? Okay, all right.
Yeah.
just food.
I mean,
Irish
it
have a
literally
spell
says
slot,
enough
though, right?
nourishment, which I was assuming is both. But I'm fine if you just want to have it be food.
Okay, yeah, I already cover a spell slot, right?
Did you use one?
Yeah, for
The boy.
no, I used it for my mage armor.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So you guys pick up and you start heading off again. Mountains are still quite a distance from you, but
And again, I'm just trying to motivate everybody. You know, we're gonna get the shelter soon. It is I have a good vibe about this. Really good vibe. Kind of helping people up,
You are
pointing
way
them in the
too,
right direction.
You are way too cheerful.
It's not about being cheerful, just motivated. Motivated to survive.
Fair point.
okay.
I think we'll do fine.
Hope is what will keep us moving.
I mean, we're also pretty cool.
Bullying a small child's not that cool.
Well, I think did what he did to he tried to pickpocket Gabriel.
I think I took care of
Tried.
that. I think I took care of that.
I was just teaching him a lesson. Jeez. He won't try and pickpocket me ever again.
That you know of. Not to your face, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, if he tries to pickpocket me, he'll get quite a surprise.
Just remember, we're traveling together, and we need to be able to trust one another.
Hmm.
So you guys continue heading southwest. Mountains growing very slightly in the distance. Traveling on. Afternoon. It's getting quite warm. It's simultaneously easier to travel and more difficult because, the weather isn't really, isn't difficult, but it's also, there's quite a bit of wind here when there's no wind breaks. And, as it warms up, you kind of find yourself getting a little thirsty, which reminds you that, you're limited on resources. Travel for a few more hours southwest, and you're having to navigate these badlands. And sometime after lunch, after your little break, people are just moving along. Everyone's sort of like fallen into a certain rhythm in the group. Faith is staying in the back, and Marcus and Gabriel are in the front, and Yinkin is somewhere toward the front, but in the middle as well. I think that the young woman is walking along, and she's trying to stay near the front, but you guys have a bit more strength than she does. And I think you hear her kind of shriek. And her, as you kind of turn and see it, and some of you are from, behind her, obviously, you see this happen. And she appears to have fallen. But she's fallen in such a way that one of her legs has, fallen into the ground. It's disappeared, presumably into a hole or something to that effect that you maybe didn't see or just passed by. And she fell, and she's hurt, and she's starting to shriek. Something is starting to cause her panic. What do you do?
I'm gonna run to her.
Immediately stop and turn, and
If she starts the middle of the pack, I'm assuming I'm nearby. I'm just gonna offer. I think she's just fallen, so offer her a hand up.
Faith will close in just out of curiosity.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'll also go over curiosity.
And as you guys begin to get closer, her leg is fallen in this hole, and she seems quite scared. But she's suddenly gone a little still, strangely.
Miss?
And her eyes go kind of wide. And she starts to scream. And she's screaming, basically, Marcus and Gabriel, in your faces. And she's saying, "Get them off! Get them off! Get them off!" What do you do?
I grab her and I try to pull her up. I want to get her out of that hole.
Okay.
I'll help him.
Does this look like an anthill or something like that, maybe?
It's definitely, whatever the hole is not natural.
Okay.
Can I cast Detect Magic?
Yeah. Gabriel, you'll need to make me a strength check to pull her out.
Oh, she's a biggin.
Can he have advantage because I'm helping him with that?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try to help, Marcus, I'll get.
Yeah, that's what. Once she started, holy shit.
No, okay. So for whatever reason, she seems stuck. Something
She's sweaty. I can't get a good grip on her. She's really sweaty.
Well, it could be that, but it also something is. It seems like the way she fell in, she seems a little locked. Giselle, if you'd like to cast Detect Magic, you can.
Yeah. If I says it's a presence of magic anywhere here.
Something's eating her.
You detect no magic.
Well, it's not magical.
Faith will push her way through the crowd a bit. I think I can help. And she kind of looks to Gabriel and Marcus to see if they'll even allow her.
Do it.
Of course.
I'll use thaumaturgy to shake
appears
the
to be
ground.
stuck.
It's harmless, but hopefully it'll loosen something so she can get pulled out.
Okay.
So I'm just going to crouch down, put my hand near the woman, not quite touching anybody, and just make the ground shake enough, hopefully, to loosen whatever she's fallen into so they can pull her leg up.
Okay, sure. So, as you do, she feels it. She starts to panic more, because whatever's happening, she's not sure what's happening. And she's frantic, and I think, so are you close enough, Faith, that she can, grab onto you?
No, she would be so so she crouches, and her arm is stretched out in front of her, so maybe at best she can grab her wrist.
Okay, so you start to shake the ground, and she feels it and starts to panic. And I think Gabriel, she actually reaches up for you. She's like literally trying to rip herself out of this hole.
Does she look like she's in pain, or is it just panic?
It's panic becoming pain.
Okay.
She's shrieking. Her eyes are wide.
Yeah, I don't stop. I continue to keep trying to get her out
I'm
of
gonna
the
help.
hole.
So I was gonna say, since Faith did that, I'll let you do another strength check, and then Yinkin, if you want to try to help in some way, we'll give.
Yeah,
advantage.
I'll grab the other side, and he can have advantage. We'll both heave.
Okay, that one you rip her out of this hole. As that happens, though, I'm gonna have to change my map here. You pull her up, and she comes basically flying out of the hole. So you achieve what you wanted. However, as you do so, you notice that there's these fairly small, little, extremely dark black things that have latched onto her leg. That immediately, as you pull them out of the hole, appear to drop off, and they appear to be small, angry, dark little scorpions. Why don't you guys put your tokens on the map? We're going to roll initiative.
Dun dun.
Stupid scorpion.
Wait, we're gonna fight?
We're gonna. Oh, there we go. We're just gonna do this like theater of the mind, because obviously this isn't, but there appear to be like 4 or 5 little scorpions that are that have clung to her leg and have come out. And I guess hopefully you didn't roll initiative yet, because I didn't do the turn order. We haven't played D&D in a while.
It has
right.
been.
So let us roll initiative. And I did turn on the tiebreaker stuff, so that's why that's coming up, in case anyone's curious. Did everyone roll? No, we're missing one.
Nope.
No.
Could be me. I forgot. Hang on. I'm sorry.
There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Descending order. Okay, Yinkin, you are first. So you see these, and they're all pretty close. These scorpions around you. What do you do?
Are they on her leg still, or did they fall to the ground?
I think 2 of them are clinging, but as the force of Gabriel's pull ripped 3 of them off. They just fell off and they're on the ground, but they're starting to bring their claws together and pincers, and they're.
My first thought would be to get them off of her.
Okay.
So I'll be perfectly honest, it's not the smartest thing to do. I'm going to try and just grab one and toss it.
Okay. I have no idea what that roll would be.
I figure a grapple.
Or
Like a
standard dex.
melee attack, yeah. Standard melee.
Yeah, why don't we say standard melee? That makes more sense to me.
So
Just so you can whack one away from her, basically.
Okay, yeah. So
Oh, geez.
whack one with the quarterstaff then, if I can do that.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's a pre-programmed macro.
It's actually, they're harder to hit because they're so small.
Yeah, I'm worried about knocking her leg.
Yeah. So in fact, and these things are mechanically, they're tiny. Yeah, you reach out and try, and you just whiff. Thankfully, you don't hit her. But yeah, you just completely whiff and miss one that's still hanging on her.
Snarl slightly.
Anything else your turn? Can you do anything else?
Nope.
Okay.
I can move, but I'm not going anywhere, so.
Marcus.
I guess, taking a cue from Yinkin, I'm also going to try and bat one of these scorpions off of her with my quarterstaff.
Okay. Got 16 that you are able to hit one. And you do 10 damage. Hang on. I'm sorry. I think I fucked this up. These tokens are not the way that I have them set up. Oh, so that doesn't hit. Okay. No, Marcus's does hit. Sorry. And actually, Marcus, you hit one with such force that when you slam your quarterstaff, you hear the shell pop and crack as one of the scorpions just immediately goes flying off and rolls away, down one of those small hills in the land, and seems to disappear down into a crevice.
And then is there still more scorpions on
There's
her?
still one on her, and there's another 3 that are on the ground, like pinching their
So-
little claws. And
I will as a bonus action, I'll make an unarmed strike to try and swat the other one off of her.
okay. Unfortunately, it does not hit.
Okay. Maybe she's moving around too much.
Yeah, she's squirming. I mean, she's panicked. She still thinks she's covered in scorpions. Anything else your turn?
No, that's it.
Okay, Gabriel.
Holding on to her, I'm definitely going to try to get that last one that's off of her. I'm just going to reach out and try to grab it and shock the shit out of it.
Ooh, okay. That definitely works. That's a good
Pops in my hand.
Well, okay. So you definitely hit the thing, and lightning spreads out across its shell and crackles, and you see some of the smoke start to come up from the tiny scorpion, but it doesn't kill it. And I think what happens is that because when you do that, it's still attached to her. So I think some of that electricity is going to hit her, and I think it scorches her leg, and she sort of just kicks out. The scorpion flies away a few feet, and it lands. It's still crackling, but it does flip itself. Like, it lands on its back. It flips over back onto its feet. You see some smoke coming up from it, but it's still alive. Anything else your turn?
That's going to be it.
Okay, Faith.
Seeing what Gabriel has done to this already freaking out woman, Faith, she's just going to kind of look at him and be careful with your magic, and I'm going to do heal word on the woman.
Okay.
Why did my macro not work?
Wow. I think your spell broke.
Yeah, apparently. I'm sure John knows all about this, so give me 1 second here.
Yeah.
Is that? I think healing word's a bonus action, right?
Nope, full action.
Oh, is it? Okay. So yeah,
Is it?
No, it's
No,
healing
wait,
word's
bonus
bonus.
action, I lied.
Healing
Yeah,
word's
say, yeah.
bonus.
So what is so you do that? What is your proper action?
If there's a scorpion near me, I'll take one of those daggers that I have and just take a swipe at it and try and cut its something off.
Okay, sure.
I can't say its head because they don't really have necks.
Yeah, they're also very tiny. That does hit. You are able to slash at one. The shell is pretty hard, but you do cut into it. And it kind of looks at you angrily and pinches its little claws together. Giselle?
How many are there left?
4. One of them is
They
badly
seem
wounded. One of them
They
is
seem
Go ahead.
they seem like they don't have a lot of HP though, right?
That's up to you to decide, but I mean, yeah.
I mean, they've been dying pretty quickly, right?
I mean, only one has died so far that you're aware of.
Fucking hell!
Check that freezer door while you're down there. Make sure it's shut
Seriously?
That's the woman yelling.
Yeah, that's her screaming in panic at the scorpions. Check the freezer door!
I'm gonna magic missile them, but apparently my thing's fucked up as well.
Are you magic
That's
missiling
a
one
response.
or more than one?
And the 2 injured ones at least.
Okay, so I think you can just roll, a d4?
Yeah, if I cast it from the front
1d4
page, it's fine.
plus 3.
So you do 11 damage to the one damaged one?
It's 1d4 plus 1 for each
that was me
one,
rolling
so
to
hang
see
on.
if I just wanted to see if mine worked.
Yeah, so just roll 1d4 plus 1, however you want to spread your damage out. So 5.
That's for the most injured one.
Okay, so that immediately, you see the missile just hit, and then the scorpion just vanishes. It just, poof, gone. You don't know what happened, but it's just gone.
And that's for the next most injured one.
Okay, so 4. It's still alive, but barely. I think, you
All
knock,
right.
one of its claws goes completely limp. Is
It's probably dead now. That's
It
for the
is.
same one.
Yeah, it's absolutely dead. Yeah, that one, its carapace just, blows away.
She just kind of snorts child's play.
Okay. Next, I think if that's your whole action, because I don't think you have any other moves.
Yeah, I
one
don't
of
have any bonus actions.
one of them is going to try to claw at Faith, since you were close enough to hit it with the dagger.
Mhm.
It's going to try to claw at you twice.
Mhm.
What's your AC?
Miss. 13.
That's a miss. And then the second one is going to, I guess I should try to turn those off onto GM stuff, but whatever. The second one, who else was really close?
I mean,
The
Yink
ones
and
that are
Gabriel
on
and
us,
Marcus
yeah.
were all.
I'm right
I
on
had
top
to
of
be
her.
within
So.
30 feet.
Okay.
Yeah, you,
So yeah, so let's say Gabriel, one is gonna it's gonna try to claw at you. What's your AC? Higher than 15 probably.
16. Yeah.
And it's gonna try to actually sting you with its little tail. 21.
That
Nice.
hits.
Con save. So yeah, you do save. Half of the poison damage. So you're actually not poisoned, basically, is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because it actually doesn't list its poison damage.
There's no damage?
No.
it might just be the poisoned condition too.
Well, it says the target is poisoned. It reduces the poison damage to half. So I'm just going to roll, I think, 3d6, because that's normal. Well, we'll say 2d6. I'll be
I think
nice.
if you click the word sting, it'll roll the damage.
Yeah,
Well, no,
you don't
that's-
have it to show
Chat.
them.
Oh, maybe you're right. See, that's just, no, that's its natural piercing damage. So
Oh.
you actually take one. Yeah, see, this is from, because like I said, Conrad was stupid enough to buy me the Tome of Beasts. I think it's missing its poison damage. And it says 1d1, which we'll just say you take 1 piercing damage and then I'll roll poison. Like I said, I'll roll 2d6. What is happening here? There we go. So you take, we'll say half, so 3 poison damage.
4 total.
4 total damage. Sorry, my computer is freaking out. What is happening? That's not good. Oh, I'm on the wrong. That's fine. Okay. So yeah, those are the only 2 left. So Yinkin, there's still 2 alive. What are you doing?
I am dropping the quarterstaff because it has proven to be less than useful, and I am going to light it on fire if at all possible.
Okay.
It is not at all possible.
It is not at all possible. I think like a spout of flame, like you see like a little bit of smoke come off one, and then it just nothing happens. Like the smoke just gets blown away by the wind. Anything else
Slight
your turn?
curse. Nope.
Marcus.
I will try and use the quarterstaff against the one that just stung Gabriel.
Okay. That hits.
6.
6. So you smash it. You see a crack appear across its shell, but it's still alive.
All right, then I will bring a foot down on it with an unarmed strike.
Okay.
Or-
Unfortunately, yes, 7 doesn't do it. So it just sort of like, it like brings its tail up at you, almost like mocking you. Gabriel.
Using the same technique, just kind of reach down and try to shock it.
That will explode it. I think you see like as its shell just like blows apart, and you see that like little internal organs just like laying there. 1 left. Anything else you're doing? I don't think you can.
That's all I can.
Faith.
Take the swing.
Okay. Hits. Yeah, you jam your dagger into its back and break through its hard shell. It sort of squeals a little bit, but it doesn't kill it. Anything else your turn?
Nope.
Giselle.
All right, there's 1 left.
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna just try and firebolt it. And fucking doesn't work. Are you
Wow.
kidding me?
I've had to roll from the main page. If I roll from spells, nothing works.
All right, I'll pull it from spells. Hang on.
14 just hits.
Okay, so 5
Yeah, and you just completely incinerate it. It's left there, and it's basically like a little fire inside of its shell. And the girl, I think Gabriel, is like clinging to you, and she's just screaming, like watching you guys kill these things. And there appear to be none left. And the old man kind of hobbles up. And he uses his cane and kind of like, he's standing next to you, Faith, and he kind of like kicks the shell a little bit with his cane. You could have left us something to eat. Kind of like grimaces at you.
that one was nice and cooked.
Faith just kind of looks up at him and again the narrowing of the dark eyes, but then realizes she's kind of in the center of the crowd. So she kind of stands up very slowly, still holding her dagger, not threateningly, but like kind of clutching it, and tries to start like backing away from everybody.
Yeah, and I think that oh Jesus. I think that this thing, you're all kind of like standing around. Faith is backing away. And I think that from a little bit of a distance, as you guys are standing there, and Gabriel, the young woman, is just frantic and like just making sure that she's kicking her legs out, making sure there's none still on her.
I'm trying to console her still, looking at her wounds, seeing if she's okay. Kind of reassuring her, yeah, everything's fine, we've taken care of everything, you're going to be okay.
Her wounds are miraculously not there anymore, are they?
No, yeah, she had like a scorch mark on her legs and like some like claw marks and stuff, but she seems okay. She might be limping a little bit, but she appears to be all right.
The hole, does it look like it goes down farther?
It looks like something that the scorpions maybe dug out, and remember they're tiny, so it's not like a large hole. It was just big enough that like it was something her foot could kind of slide into, but it's by no means a big hole. But since you're actually looking at it, Giselle,
can I put like a mote of my dancing light into it?
I guess, yeah. As you're beginning to do that, you start to see the ground start to move where the hole is.
Oh, no.
Time to go, I think.
I think
I definitely want to pull the woman away from the hole.
Okay, so you pull her away. I think that the old man sort of just starts hobbling away, like he starts heading in the direction you were going, like southwest still. Are you all just like fleeing the hole?
I think Marcus just keeps looking at it and takes a defensive stance.
Yeah, and
and we'll stay and wait until as people move away.
Yeah, if people are moving forward, Faith is moving backwards, just kind of against them to get out of the crowd more quickly.
Yeah, and I think the ground is really starting to churn a bit. Something large is going to come through this hole very soon.
I'm going to reach down, pick up my quarterstaff. Lady, you don't want to be by yourself whenever whatever this is comes out, and start slowly backing away.
Fair point. I'm coming.
Actually was talking to the young lady with horns, but...
And she just kind of blinks at you because lady with horns is not a phrase she's ever heard. Bitch. She's heard those.
I'm going to form my dancing lights into a medium-sized humanoid-looking figure and just, like, make it dance around. Hopefully that will, like, distract it while we're running away.
Like, are you running away? Because it sounds like stuff.
I'm running away.
Marcus was taking a defensive pose.
Yeah, I'm kind of making sure people are far enough away that they won't be attacked for, I don't want to be leaving these innocent people behind me to face whatever this is and get eaten by it if it's something big, so.
And if it wasn't clear, Faith would then follow Yinkin after being addressed such. Maybe not more trusting, but instead of backing slowly, she's kind of running away with him.
So, yeah, once everybody has started to move away from it, then Marcus would follow suit. He's going to wait until...
He's rear guarding.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. So, yeah, you guys all begin to clear out, and you begin to walk away. And, Marcus, I think that you're the one who probably sees it since you're kind of paying attention to it. You see a large black claw emerge from the hole. It seems to have trouble, like it's got to force its way up and out. And you're probably like a couple dozen feet away at this point, maybe more, watching it. And you see this large other claw come up and like force its way out. And you see a very similar looking scorpion, but about 6 times the size. And it emerges and immediately like starts looking around, and you can see that it's like bringing its large claws around as you guys are like heading off. And
my
I think
dancing light thing is like right in its face, like
It's like looking around, and I think like it sort of walks over and it sees like the carapace of another like little scorpion, and it like walks over to it and like uses its claw and pulls it in and like pushes it into the hole and goes off and finds another one as you guys are like backing off in the distance. And I think, Marcus, that Jalen, the young boy, is like at your side, and he's just like watching you, watching it. He just says, "You don't want to kill that thing? You did
Not
so
if I
good with
don't
the little
have to."
ones." He like sighs, looks up at you disappointed, like turns and walks away.
I only got one spell slot left.
And yeah, you guys, you begin walking away. Yeah, Marcus, you see the scorpion like gathering up the carapaces of the other scorpions, pulling them in to the hole, and then it seems to like try to burrow itself back down.
Okay, so after I see it, gathering the first, once it gathers one little scorpion corpse and then goes to gather another one, I'll think, okay, it's not coming after us at least.
Not yet.
So I will. Yeah, I mean, like I was worried about an immediate, attack on us. So I will keep, like 20, 30 feet behind everybody else and kind of be walking backwards, or turning around every so often to keep an eye on it to see if it's coming after us.
Okay.
And I'll keep doing that for like an hour before I, finally start to feel like we are okay for now.
Does it would I how do I phrase it? Can I do a nature check to see if I would know something that this would be afraid of? Like, I'm assuming I've seen birds eat bugs kind of thing. Can I do a nature check to see if I would assume something similar about the scorpion?
Yeah, you can make a nature check. Scorpions don't have a lot to fear, in nature. Generally, the one thing they are fearful of is like larger scorpions, but also like as a general rule, I think like fire.
Okay.
They didn't seem adverse to it this time, but generally.
Yeah, I'm just gonna file that in the back of my mind, seeing as it isn't following us, but.
Okay.
Thank you.
So yeah, you guys continue on, heading southwest, and you travel a few more hours. It's harder now because the young woman obviously is having a hard time, and she's Gabriel, I think you noticed very quickly she seems a bit paranoid.
Well, I'm gonna help her walk. If she needs to lean on me or something like that, I'm definitely gonna help her. If it keeps us from slowing down some.
Yeah, and she definitely does. She definitely leans on you. And as you're kind of helping her walk along, she kind of like looks at you, and a little dreamily, but not because like she's in love with you, but because she thinks she was almost killed. She says, "I'm Chandra, by the way."
Chandra, it's very nice to meet you. My name is Gabriel. I assure you everything's going to be fine. I'm sure that was quite a scare for you. Again, trying to stay upbeat about everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to run into things that we haven't seen before. It's just important that we keep our eyes open and look out for one another.
Yeah, she just kind of like tries to smile, but it's obviously difficult for her. And yeah, you guys continue walking along. I think this is what you want. Yeah, so you guys continue walking along, and it's probably getting to about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. The sun's going to be setting in a few hours. The land is basically more of the same. Mountains are a little closer. And yeah, do you guys start to head to camp? Like you're going to set up, or what do you do?
Yeah, I think before it's dark, we need to try to set something up.
Agreed.
Is there any maybe upraised territory? I know we're not near the mountains yet, but anywhere where we can see where we'd be able to get a good assessment of the area that we're in?
It's
Higher ground.
it's
Almost.
mostly pretty flat here. Like if anything, it's just level and it goes down. There's not really up.
Are there any maybe large rocks or something like that? Something that we can put our backs to, or something that could protect us from the wind, or something like
I
that?
mean, like I said, it goes down into those little crevices, which would give you protection from the wind. Like I can show you kind of a picture, I think, of what I'm picturing this to be more or less, if it's helpful for you. Or maybe I don't. Hang on.
I don't want it to be like a death pit that we end up getting ambushed and.
I mean, here's the thing: like everything is dangerous out here. You're not going to be able to get away from it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you could climb down into one of those small like crevices. That would definitely protect you from the wind.
Is this like typical spring weather, or are we talking like big highs, big lows?
It's gonna get pretty cold, for sure.
Okay.
Like I said, there's not a lot of wind breaks. It's gonna be rough for sure. And that's.
Well, let's gather some stuff, gather some wood, just build us a fire. So what's the makeup of the rest of the party? I know like the races of us five, but like Chandra and the old man and Jalen, and I'm assuming there's two others as well.
Mhm.
Like what are their makeup? What races are they?
They're all human. That you
All
can tell.
human. Okay,
Yeah.
so none of them have dark vision or anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you guys set up to camp. You gonna set up a watch order?
Is it really dark now?
Yes, it's gonna get real dark.
Okay. I'm gonna resummon. I'm gonna call my ratty back.
Okay.
His name is Sparkles, or Sprinkled, by the way.
Sprinkles.
Okay. Yeah. What's the watch order?
I could take first if you guys
I
want.
only need 4 hours of trance, so
I'll take last watch. I don't sleep much.
I don't technically sleep at all.
I can take second watch.
Neither do I, but I got used to calling it that.
Yinken, aren't you an elf?
That's why I said neither do I, but I got used
So,
to
I
calling
mean-
it that.
We can both just take watch and the rest of the mortals sleep.
You're still mortal.
Says you.
So are you?
I think especially while we're setting up again, just keeping trend. Tomorrow's going to be another day. You know, get some rest. We need to save our strength for our travels. You know, good job, everyone. Getting where we're at. Just stay together, stay as a team, keep your hopes alive. Thumbs
Yeah.
up, big thumbs up.
As we're setting up camp and stuff, I have an iron pot that I'm going to put out, and
Okay.
refill your water skins.
Nice, very good,
Wow, so useful.
very beneficial. Yeah.
Okay.
There were always dry times in a farm.
So
This a
is it
very
just
interesting spell.
the case that Yinkin and Giselle are taking watch and no one else?
Faith
No,
wouldn't offer,
think-
but she also plans to stay up all night.
I think I would definitely take this first watch at least for like an hour or two, whether they stay awake or not.
Yeah, no, I'm going to take my 4 hours of trance while he's watching. So, and someone
Well, I
wakes me
guess
for
I
the
will.
last one.
And I'll still tell Gabriel to wake me up when he's done.
So let's do an order here. Gabriel's first. Who's second?
If
Marcus.
Marcus told
I
me to
think
wake
I'm
him, I
gonna
would wake
be-
Marcus.
I think I'll probably just be with else awake during Gabriel's watch and help him watch.
Okay, so you'll be awake for Gabriel and Marcus.
So the first 4 hours I'll be
Right.
awake.
And then who's taking third? Yinkin?
Yeah.
Is anyone taking... I mean, Yinkin can take both.
Yeah, I'll take both. I'll take the last two.
Okay.
Faith
and
is staying up all night.
Okay.
Jeez.
All right.
Why you not sleep?
Okay, so...
It's good.
You expect me to trust that my throat will not be slit while I sleep. I don't know any of you enough yet.
I promise you, you're safe with us. We're traveling together for a reason.
I mean, she's got a
we were
point.
put in this situation.
You say that, and yet you already burned that woman's leg.
Hey, that was an accident.
I guess
But I
if
will
Pest
keep my distance.
find
If my
something
music
bad,
keeps any of you up, let me know.
What does my ratty tell me about the other guys' party?
Well, why don't we, Gabriel is going to take first watch. Giselle, you'll sit there and resummon your rat.
Yep. Mr. Sprinkles.
As you're doing that, you resummon your rat. Why don't we take a break? Because Sean really has to pee.
So does Mel, so I am all for this.
Like,
Yeah,
Sounds
I am
good.
too.
wow, unbelievable. Okay, so let's
Yes.
take a break.
Okay, we're taking a break.
don't know our names yet.
Shut
looking at
up,
the list?
man. It's you. I mean, how is
I
that
say-
fair?
So much love, damn.
The only one of you I actually almost had a hiccup on was Conrad for some reason. I'm like, Reginald, no, wait, Marcus, damn it.
I still call him Connor on occasion and feel bad.
Yeah,
'cause
I
I'm
did.
playing
I did once a couple weeks
two
ago.
of you
So
at the same time.
That's all right. This guy I play games with sometimes, whose name is
Radical.
Connor, and it gets really frustrating only when we're both playing the same game because people will be like, Connor. I mean, Conrad. I mean, wait, which one of you is which?
So it's nothing personal, dear.
I'm very used to it.
So, coming back in, because I think everyone's here, I do have two quick questions. One, to confirm, are you staying in one of those crevices, or did you stay above? Like, did you
I
set
don't
up
think
camp?
we ever said we were going in crevices, so I'm assuming we stayed above.
Second question, did anyone start a fire?
I probably would have.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was one of the first things I'd mentioned. We needed
Okay.
to collect wood and start a fire.
You did say that. You're right. Thank you. Okay. So, night begins to fall. It gets quite dark, and it's getting very cold very rapidly out here. Gabriel will take first watch with Giselle. Giselle, you begin to recast the spell, summoning your rat to you.
I don't have to recast the spell.
Can you just
I
cast
can
the
just
spell?
summon him.
Can you just cast the spell so I can see it in chat?
Sure.
Assuming it works. So
I basically dismiss him and then make him reappear.
okay. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Yeah, just recalling him.
You can communicate with it telepathically. So you resummon it.
I'm just gonna have a little chat with him.
What do you say to Sprinkles? Now I have to find a voice for a rat. Thank you, Gwen. Jesus Christ.
You did fine with an imp.
Well, yeah, that was a cool imp though.
I'm just gonna ask him.
It's a punk rock rat, remember?
Yeah, he's got like a little earring and a spike collar, and his name is Mr. Sprinkles.
He definitely doesn't have any of that, but yeah, okay.
So Mr.
It's a
Sprinkles.
true polymorphed ex-lover.
I mean, if she could have true polymorphed her ex-lover, she probably would have. She would have made him a rat, and she probably would have stomped on him.
What does she say to him? What is the conversation like?
So, Mr. Sprinkles, what did you see? Did you follow the bad man?
Sorry, I'm thinking about what the accent should be for a rat.
Yeah, boss.
No, we already did kind of a New York thing.
How about soccer hooligan?
Templeton
French,
from
definitely a French accent.
That's what I was thinking.
Oh,
Actually.
French accent. Yeah.
I was
okay.
thinking Ratatouille. So yeah. So you ask him.
Do a French accent.
You ask him. What was exactly the question?
Did you follow the bad man around and find out what he's doing?
I
Anything
was
interesting happen?
with him until you resummoned me. Most of those people are dead.
That's what I thought. And is he still alive?
So it would seem.
Did he kill them, or did they die naturally?
And there's like a pause as Sprinkles doesn't quite know how to answer you. He says, I'm not sure what you mean by naturally. The
Did
creatures.
something come out? Yeah.
Yes. They were, some of them were torn apart. Some of them were eaten. It was not a pretty sight.
That sounds bad. We only had one little run-in, though.
So far, there is fewer of you than there were of them.
Fair point. Well, that doesn't sound like a good thing for them. Oh well. Good job. And she kind of pats him on the head. Gives him a little piece of her rations.
Yeah, and he pulls out a little napkin and wraps it around his neck and begins to use his fork and knife. He's a goddamn rat. He eats the cheese. So yeah, you summon your rat and you have this little conversation. Meanwhile,
And I will tell Gabrielle as well what Mr. Sprinkles just told me.
okay.
Mr. Sprinkles told you that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you just saw me like him appear out of thin air in my lap.
No. I saw you looking at a mouse. Sure. I heard it talking. Sure I did.
It's telepathic.
Oh.
Do you not know what find familiar is?
Of course I do. Yeah.
Okay, she'll put him on her hand and then she'll like shunt him into the pocket dimension. See? Poof.
And like right before you do that, you hear Giselle, but Gabriel does not. You hear Sprinkles go, please, not again, and just like poof, gone.
Whoops. I think he's gonna be a little mad at me, and she brings him back. Sorry, Mr. Sprinkles. He doesn't believe you can talk.
No, I believe you.
And Sprinkles just says, who gives a crap about this creature? What?
You're right.
Yes.
He got us caught.
Us? And there's like a little bit of like, he's like shaming you with his little face. He's like, he didn't get caught, you got caught.
Shut up.
I like this.
Put you back in the pocket dimension.
I wish I had another master.
Next time, I'll make you a fly.
And he just like, just like scampers around you a little bit. Like he doesn't respond to that. So yeah, Gabriel, Giselle tells you about her talking rat, and you're kind of watching. I think that for a little bit, Chandra doesn't want to sleep. Like she's obviously going to have a difficulty like falling asleep. So she's kind of just up like watching you. Are you just sitting, Gabriel? Like how are you taking watch?
I'm probably very vigilant. Probably standing, not sitting at all. Kind of just scanning the horizon. Not out of paranoia, but again, more or less really wanting to keep everyone safe. Just trying to stay as vigilant as possible. Other than the little talking rat conversation we had.
Mm-hmm.
If I notice anyone's having difficulty sleeping or anything like that, I might give them like a reassuring pat or talk or something like that, but I don't want to take my focus off of the watch. I think the watch is very important.
Okay. Yeah.
Probably a good idea because Giselle's practicing her spells.
Actually, what I would do for Chandra, I'll pick up like a rock and cast light on it, and I'll just tell it to keep it with her. It's like a night light or something like that.
Oh, I can help as well. I'll cast prestidigitation on it to make it nice and warm for her. It'll keep your hands nice and warm.
And I think like when Gabriel, when you cast light, she smiles this warm smile and like kind of like cuddles up with it. But when you do that, Giselle, she kind of like throws it away. Like she flings it. Like she freaks out when you do that. And she just looks at you kind of wide-eyed, Giselle, like freaked out. Like, what the fuck did you do?
You just made it warm. Humans.
Chandra, she means well. Just try to get some sleep.
She smiles at you and kind of like lays her. She maybe like tries to like reach out and grabs the rock and kind of pulls it in, but like a little wearily, kind of puts it near her head and tries to curl up. Why don't the two of you give me perception checks?
Do I do one as well since I'm staying up?
Yes, that's right. And I imagine, oh Jesus,
I'm very vigilant.
And I imagine, Faith, let me ask you, I'm guessing you're staying kind of away from the fire, like you're kind of like off in shadow somewhere, just watching them.
Because I have dark vision, especially, I'm gonna stay literally at the edge of the camp, so like they know where I am. But I'm also gonna be again playing music very gently, just as something to keep myself
Occupied.
from panicking.
Yeah. And I think it's that causes you to hear it, is you're trying to play your music, but you're hearing something that's like disrupting your ability to play. It's like throwing off your rhythm. It's very faint, very faint. It's got to be somewhere off in the distance, but you're hearing what sounds like wings, and several of them. It's not loud. It's hard to say how many, but definitely more than one, less than a dozen. But you're hearing it off in the distance, and it's sort of throwing off your playing a bit.
Does it sound like it's coming closer? If I sit and listen for a minute before saying anything?
Not yet. It's just you're just hearing it far off in the distance.
And am I hearing like a or
it's a lot.
Okay. But I can't tell if they're fast or slow.
I mean the you know the flapping is pretty rapid, but that doesn't, I don't know what that tells you necessarily. Like, it's probably not a large creature.
Essentially, yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out, if it's a large or a small.
It's more likely like a lot of small creatures.
Yeah.
This is Bat Country.
She'll stand. And this is at towards the end of Gabriel's watch?
Mm-hmm.
There's something in the skies. She'll kind of approach, so she's kind of in that silhouette of the light, so you can actually see her beyond the shadow. I can't tell if it's coming near, but it is above us. After the scorpions, I'm not entirely sure what to expect.
Well, I think we need to stay on our toes, that's for sure.
Yes. And I'd like to look towards the sky over his head, I guess, to see if I see anything. Or at least in the direction I hear it.
Yeah, you definitely don't. You can still hear it, but you don't see anything. It's well too dark, and because of you know.
Yeah, even with the dark vision, it's too dark beyond that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So
I'll just go back to the shadows.
Okay, so Gabriel, your watch is over. You can go and wake Marcus.
Yeah, I wake Marcus. I think I'm probably gonna have a hard time going to sleep, knowing what's happening now.
Mm-hmm. I'm assuming you tell Marcus about it.
Yeah. Maybe this helps if it can. I'm gonna chuck a firebolt into the sky, just to try to illuminate the. I'm not shooting at anything, just almost like shooting a flare up in the air.
Calling it right to us.
Yeah, you still can't see anything. It's whatever it is, it's got to be too far away. But I think when you do that, for a few minutes, the rhythm of the flapping definitely changes. And I think actually because you did that, you wake up. You probably wakes up Chandra. It probably briefly wakes up Jalen, the boy. But he's young and, you know, it's easy for him to sleep. So it kind of wakes him up briefly. He looks around a little and then just like starts snoring again. But I think the light kind of illuminates for a moment the old man with a cane, and he's got his back up, or not, I guess no, because you guys aren't in the crevice. He was laying on his side, and you see that like his eyes are open and he's just watching you as you do this. And he just quietly like mouths to you, "Maybe you're going to die first." And there's like a little grin on his face. And then he just casually closes his eyes.
I don't think any of us are going to die. I just smile at him.
Yeah, and Chandra definitely hears this. Like, she's awake from the fireball, and she's looking at you. And
just kill him, and he'll be the first one to die, and he'll shut up.
Yeah, so you wake up Marcus. Marcus, you probably wake up at the fireball. Marcus, time to get up. Fireball.
I probably wasn't sleeping that heavily, so I probably actually, if he's like walking over and he shoots a firebolt and it's like, "Hey, Marcus, wake up!" I probably jump to my feet like there's a battle.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, what the like? Oh, jeez.
I just let him know what's happening. We've heard wings, and I was just trying to illuminate the area to see if we could see anything.
All right. And probably take a swig of water and Say, I'm gonna go take a patrol around. See if there's anything at ground level. And I'd probably go and take probably go like 60 feet out from where everybody's sleeping. And just do a full circle around the campsite.
Okay. Why don't you make me a perception check? Yeah, maybe you're... At first, when Gabriel first wakes you, you can maybe hear the wings. But as you kind of like walk around and you're trying to do your patrol, you know, they kind of like disappear into the distance. They kind of fade out. And you're basically just hearing like a gentle breeze that's blowing, but it's very cold. It's not a strong wind, but it doesn't take much. Maybe off in the distance you're seeing like a little bit of like soil or dirt or what have you being blown around by the wind. But you don't really observe anything.
All right, I think towards the end of my patrol, I would walk towards where Faith is plucking away at her instrument. And just kind of sit down next to her.
She kind of gives you like her eyes flicker up from her strings, and she kind of gives you this long, patient look because she knows you, even if you don't know her to an extent.
Yeah, I feel like,
and you see something in that. Like you can kind of see some. She's not quite as wary of you, and yet.
I'm still like trying to place. I feel like I feel like I know I've seen this tiefling before, but you know, there's a lot of tieflings in the city and the common fare that are all usually dirty and unkempt and
yeah, and she's surprisingly put together. What do you want?
It's nice music, and that lute actually looks kind of familiar.
At the first, she kind of starts to, surprise touches her face, and she starts to, kind of soften. But then at the second, she scowls. I didn't steal it, if that's what you mean to imply.
I did not say such a thing. But no, I meant I work with wood, so I've had to fix different instruments. Yes, ha ha ha, everybody giggling that's still awake. Go back to sleep, you'll need your rest.
I'm just trancing and I'm just giggling in my sleep.
Faith just kind of nods slowly. Is there a point to this train of conversation?
I suppose trying to build trust. You seem to not have very much of that.
And what reason do I have to trust any of you?
What reason do you have not to?
She actually laughs, and there is this musical kind of hint to it. So, like, you get a hint of the voice that sings where, like, you really have to ask me that. You lived in the same city, didn't you? Bastion?
We're not in Bastion.
No, we're not. Which is all the more reason for you to be able to kill me and not face consequences. We're already at the end. We're already seeing the end of that. I might not have much, but what I have would still keep you alive for a few more days, perhaps. I'm not going to trust easily.
I believe people will keep us alive, not things.
Yes, people. Isn't that an interesting word? Am I a person to you? Honestly.
As much as anyone else.
Can I insight that to see if there is any kind of twinge of dishonesty?
Yeah, I guess.
Absolutely not. Like, I'm not lying.
I guess I'm looking more for racism, but she'll kind of nod. It's good to know. Perhaps you've made your step towards trust.
One step at a time, then. And I'll stand up and I'll leave you in peace now.
And she'll kind of nod her thanks more than actually voice it.
Okay. Yeah, so Marcus, you have a little exchange and do a little patrol. And then your watch is basically up. And then I think, what is it, Yinkin? He's taking the last two? Okay, so Marcus wakes up Yinkin, and Faith is, of course, still awake.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of the other exiles with you are mostly sleeping, it seems. Chandra probably wakes up every little while thinking just having nightmares about scorpions. But she's having a fitful sleep. But Marcus, you wake up Yinkin, and Yinkin, you're patrolling around. Do you just hang out at the camp, or do you walk away?
I probably walk at least a little bit away from the coals of the fire so that I can see better. Because again, if there's too much light, you go night blind.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. All right. So, do you do you do anything during your watch? You talk to anybody?
I noticed the horned lady plucking away at her string, but just look at her oddly for a minute, just like, why aren't you sleeping? But then shrug. Maybe she's an early riser like me, and just keep walking.
Okay. Yeah. So you kind of hang out for your watch, and everyone else is basically asleep. You get into the wee hours of the night, and it's almost pitch black out here.
Do you want me to do another perception check at disadvantage?
Sure,
as exhaustion sets in?
Yeah, okay. Ooh.
Yeah,
it's starting to wear on you, It's been a pretty rough 24 hours for you, getting exiled and being out here with people you don't know or trust. So some time passes, and Yinkin, you take the 2 hours of your first watch, and then you'll take the second 2 hours if you want to roll perception again for me.
Yes, I really, really do. It's better.
Yeah. Not really hearing wings at all. I don't know if maybe Marcus warned you, but you're not hearing that at all. Very occasionally you do see what looks to you like movement out in the darkness, but it's slight and only random. There's no, necessarily logic to it. You're not really sure if you're seeing anything or if this is just such a new experience you're actually seeing something. The night passes mostly uneventfully. I don't know if Faith, you want to make another roll at disadvantage?
I only did one for the first 4 hours, so I'll only do one for the second. I'll keep that exhaustion setting in.
Yeah, and make sure you mark that exhaustion from the first night.
I did.
Okay, good.
I did.
And it gets to be early. You know that the sun's going to rise in maybe an hour or so. It's probably a good time to start waking people up and getting everyone roused and stretched out before another long day. So you guys all wake up, start, maybe get a little drink of water. There's probably some left over from Create Food and Water because it creates 10 gallons.
Yeah, exactly. It's that pot's probably full for us to make something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wash our faces.
Yeah. Jalen definitely rushes to the water. He's gonna grab what he can and put some on his face. Just not that it really helps with the dirt or anything.
Faith pulls out the good berry that she didn't eat the day before and pops it, hoping the breakfast will give her a bit of energy to get through the first half of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it disappear?
Well, it
24 hours.
24 hours, okay. So it's not been 24 hours, so it's still okay, I think. And as you guys are all waking up and getting, you're all rousing and everything, the fire is fading. And I think that as the sun is creeping up, Gabriel, I think something wakes you before Yinkin has a chance to wake you. And it's a real strange thing. But for the briefest of moments, the fireball that you threw up in the air, it crashes back. It crashes back down. It hits where the fire is, and it explodes, and that's what wakes you. So you jerk awake, I assume.
That took hours
later. Yeah.
And you look and nothing's burning. The fire's almost out. What the hell is that sound? Like you knew that this happened. This fire just exploded. But you jerk awake, you look around, and the fire is just basically embers at this point. Everyone is just rousing and getting up to wake up for another day.
So no one else has seen this, just me.
Nope.
It's like,
yep.
Wow.
Does anyone see him like jerk awake like this? I assume maybe Faith, but Faith is kind of out of it.
No, Faith is probably just curled around her I almost said lyre. Not quite sleeping, but again, she's tired.
Mm-hmm.
Did he move very far away from where Giselle was sitting? Because I'm semi-conscious while I'm trancing.
That's up to Gabriel.
I probably laid down close to where Chandra was at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that happens. And then you guys all start to get up and do your stuff. I need everyone to make me an intelligence check.
Okay, I'm casting Mage Armor as soon as I wake up, by the way.
Okay.
Would this count as an ability check?
What's that?
Would this count as an ability check?
Jeez.
Let's say yes.
Okay.
Intelligence is my good stat.
Sorry, exhaustion.
Ooh.
I just need to think about disadvantage. Sorry about the echo there.
That's okay.
Wow.
So yeah, Yinkin, you're the first to notice it. You notice it almost immediately. Giselle, you notice it a few moments later. In the distance, not terribly far from you, probably like 50 feet. Maybe 70 feet or so. There appears, you see something, and it draws your attention because you don't remember seeing it the night before. You guys settled in before sunset, so you probably would have seen it. Is what looks like a fat cactus. Like a short, fat, round cactus. It's got like purple and like purplish reddish flowers growing on it, especially out of the top. You don't remember it being there the night before. Especially Yinkin. Like this, clearly you would have remembered.
That's a plant.
Exactly.
It's like I've never seen.
Does a cactus seem out of place for where we are?
I mean, the
I don't
environment.
think we'd have any idea.
The environment might be conducive to it, but what draws your attention is that it wasn't there before. Like, it absolutely was not there before.
Huh.
I'm gonna walk up to Marcus. Again, those circles under my eyes are deep now. Am I seeing that? Or rather, are you seeing that?
Does everybody see it?
Signs of life.
Is it?
Signs of life that wasn't there yesterday.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Weird.
I would have noticed a plant like that yesterday.
And it's not small, by the way. Like, this is a large plant.
How large?
Large.
Like,
I guess
big enough-
mechanically
bigger
large?
than-
Like 10 feet tall, large.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's significant. It's bigger. Theoretically, like, you could almost fit inside of it.
And how far away is it?
Like 70 feet.
Is it behind us from where we came or in front of us where we're going?
It's coming actually kind of from the side of you. It's not quite from behind you, but it's also not directly from where you're headed.
Okay. I guess I look to you and kind of be like, well, I mean, you're the gardener, so say it wasn't there before. What is it? I don't think cactuses grow overnight.
I have no idea.
I'm not entirely sure it's real. There's like a bit of wonder in her voice, and Faith's gonna get a little closer to it.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna summon my cantrip, Dancing Lights, and make it into like a humanoid figure and walk it towards it. Beside her.
Can I get it within 30 feet without some kind of reaction from it?
It barks at you.
Oh, it's a barking cactus. I've heard of those.
Yeah. I read about those once. It's actually a howling cactus is more accurate. Yeah, if you get closer to it, Faith, it's a cactus.
If I'm within 30 feet, I'm gonna kind of look first at the dancing light humanoid, because I know it's there, but it's still... and look over my shoulder, everybody. And I'm gonna conjure up my mage hand and go out and see if I can touch it with the mage hand and see what happens.
Okay. I guess you can't feel through the mage hand.
No.
But it would stop if it... I mean, if it would pass through it if it was an illusion.
Yes, that's more what I'm kind of going.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't pass through. It's solid. And as the hand, reaches out to touch it, you actually observe that what appears to be a kind of tendril reaches out kind of quickly and tries to who is anyone else hearing that?
Nope.
That's weird.
No.
Why does that keep happening? Sorry.
What's it sound like?
Like a rapid popping sound, but quiet.
Nope.
Okay. Well, it's not happening now, but that's weird.
Maybe it's your headphones?
Yeah, but I don't. It's never happened before. I don't know what will be causing it, but that's okay. It's not so distracting as to be a problem. So, yeah. So you see this tendril kind of reach up kind of quickly and try to for a moment, it looks like the tendril is going to caress the hand, like it's trying to get a feel for it. But of course, the tendril can't touch the hand because it's spectral, but it tries.
I'm gonna kind of move the hand to touch the tendril and make it see, I'm gonna move the hand with the tendril to see what happens, as if it did get some kind of grip. Push against the tendril, I guess is a better description.
Okay. I think another tendril kind of pulls away from the cactus and starts to try to feel the hand.
I think it's mutual fascination at this point. Faith will continue to kind of play with it and just see what happens. She'll, I can grab it with the hand and I'm going to kind of pull to see. I'm waiting to see if this is just mutual curiosity or if something violent happens. Venus flytrap, snap.
Mm-hmm.
Choosing my words carefully.
Yeah, the tendrils sort of just reach up and but they can't touch the hand, right? Because it's spectral. So it's just there.
But I can interact with
it.
things?
Is solid. It is solid. It can pick things up and stuff. So it is solid.
That's why I think there'd be some kind of sensation for the cactus.
Right. Well, see, that's what I'm trying to figure, because it literally says spectral. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense to me that
I think image-wise is spectral.
Okay. So yeah,
You can see through it, but it is solid.
the tendrils kind of reach up and are it does appear to be a fascination for a moment. And there's, the mage hand is reaching out to touch the tendrils. The tendrils are reaching back. And then rather abruptly, the tendrils loop around the hand and immediately violently try to pull the hand into itself.
Yeah, so the hand gets destroyed.
Yeah.
And Faith kind of flinches back, and starts backing away from the cactus because she has no idea how big those tendrils are.
Yeah, and as that happens,
wanna-
like the hand disappears and the tendrils sort of recede and like I don't want to say lock back in, but it stops moving and it just appears to be a normal cactus again. Aside from being overly large and round.
and having tentacles.
Interesting.
I don't
Yeah, so
want-
Faith will back again, not towards the group, yes, but not towards the crowd, if that makes sense. I don't recommend we go too near to that.
Sure. Does Mr. Sparkles recognize this from? Is this one of the things that might have torn the other party apart?
I don't think so. No.
I don't think we should leave it behind us. It came up so quietly in the night.
We can
Get
go.
everybody away from it.
Faith doesn't need to be told twice.
Well, I say we just pick up and move and maybe keep an eye on
Yeah.
it. I mean, if it's
We know to
something
look
that
for
can
it.
I can.
chase us, I mean, it'll be obvious to know.
I can have
Fair.
my familiar follow it.
I don't want it to get eaten.
I think as long as it doesn't follow us, I don't think it's going to be a problem.
Well,
Yeah.
I can leave Mr. Sprinkles here and keep an eye on it and call him back in an hour and maybe see if it's following us.
How about we just stick to the high ground and now we know where to mark it?
Okay.
Just get everybody up. Yeah, I'm going to be keeping the rear guard now just because I'm keeping an eye on this very strange. I'm fascinated by this thing.
Okay.
Initially, you get a bit of a resistance. Like, Faith, as you get close to her being in the rear guard, she stops and waits for you to move ahead of her before realizing what you're doing. And then she'll kind of keep astride you, like, next to you, but she's still keeping a good 15 feet away. So it's kind of like a triangular.
Okay. So you guys
I'll just go up
continue.
with Gabriel and head to the front again, I guess, if
Okay.
kind of reestablishing a marching order.
Before we move, I'm going to give Chandra one of my daggers.
Okay. I think she holds it with both hands in front of her, just like completely stiff and terrified. Like she has no idea what she's doing with it.
I give her the whole like sheath, and then I kind of show her how to wear it, and I put it away for her.
Okay.
I said, "This is just in case, just in case."
Yeah, and she kind of like gently smiles at you, but she's like obviously terrified. She really hopes she doesn't have to use it.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't need it, but just in case.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so you guys continue forward, still heading southwest. The mountains are, you travel for a few hours. The mountains are getting a little closer. It's coming to you now that it's possible, well, I shouldn't say possible, that there are more mountains to the west. And I'll have to, I'll update the map as we go. But there's more mountains like over to the west that look like more peaked mountains. What you're heading into down, southwest, as you're getting closer, the mountains appear kind of flat on top. They're more like mesas. They're still very, very large and quite imposing. And it's still going to take you a couple days, a day or two to get there. Well, Sean didn't give them names. But yes, it's not. It's really not. Yeah.
Abbott and Costello.
How about what?
Abbott and Costello. The last two people that don't have names.
No.
How about their twins, John and Jenna?
One of them is a woman who
Named
is...
Jesse, and a twin named James.
There's a woman who is in her, we'll say, early to mid 30s, whose name is Dalla, Dalla. This, and the other person is, he's a male. We'll say he's a bit older too. He's probably late 40s. His name is Jija. So yeah, you guys are moving along, getting a little closer to the mountains. Land is not really getting more hospitable yet. You travel along the first half of your day, heading toward lunch. Travel along. It's a very overcast day. It's quite chilly. There's you think that in another environment it would rain, but it doesn't at all. It's just cold and humid. It should rain, but none to speak of. You continue for the first half of your day. Why don't Marcus and Gabriel make me a perception check? There it is. Marcus, you see it first. Off in the distance, maybe a couple 100 feet, 200 at the absolute outside. There appears to be a humanoid figure headed in your direction.
All right, so I will immediately point it out to Gabriel. And it looks like something moving up out there. Perhaps another exile.
When was the last ceremony? Out of curiosity.
Months. It's been months.
Okay.
I mean, anything's possible at this point.
I can send my rat.
What is the rat going to do?
He's a familiar, and I can talk to him out to 100 feet.
Right.
Yeah, her talking rat. Yes. So we can't make out any features of this thing or anything.
At
It's
this
just coming
distance, it
right
just
at us.
yeah, it's definitely headed in your direction, moving at a good clip, but not like any faster than you could move. It appears to be wearing like white, looks like tattered clothing, but again, details are hard at this distance. Excuse me.
I mean, I suppose we just continue where we're headed, and if it approaches or comes close, we can determine at that point whether it's friendly or not. I don't see any reason to panic at this point.
Do I hear the commotion? That something's out there?
Presumably, I don't see why not, unless they're trying to hide it from the group.
As we're walking, I'm going to start to ritual cast Comprehend Languages.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you guys are walking along, and the thing. Do you change direction because it's kind of coming at you from a bit of an angle? Do you change direction to intercept, or do you just like wait for it to?
I mean, Marcus would, I guess, want to change to go towards it a little bit more, like angle ourselves a little bit more towards it. Not so much that we're completely veering off the kind of path we had chosen, but so that we'll close the distance a little bit closer or quicker.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So the thing, the humanoid figure is moving at you, and Marcus, I imagine you kind of like break off a little bit more than most to try to see what's coming. So, and because you rolled your perception, best, as it's starting to close in, it's probably getting within like 100 feet, 80 feet. You're noticing a lot more details. The clothing, and that's in air quotes that it's wearing, are tattered strips of cloth. Its skin is more desiccated, dried out. It looks like its eyes have receded into its head. This thing looks like it was human. and it's getting closer.
Lovely.
There it is again.
Right, so if I'm like 15, 20 feet away from everybody, I'll kind of turn out and I'll say, this might not technically be a survivor anymore. But
Does
at
it look
first,
like it's on like an intercept course with us?
yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, it wants our brains.
Yum. I mean, my brains are pretty sweet. I'm really smart.
How'd you end up out here then?
She looks at Gabriel.
She thinks she's too smart.
And the thing is getting
am
closer.
smart.
50 feet.
I'm gonna prepare a spell.
I mean, I want to call out to it. Hey, friend.
At that, Yinkin finally is looking forward, going, "Wait, what?"
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
Magician.
you say that, Gabriel, and it
Yeah. Oh. I think you were asking.
it kind of like slows for a moment, and like looks up, like some recognition, and then keeps moving at you.
I'm gonna look to Giselle. Magician. You, with the glasses.
Yes. What?
Do your trick with the lights, will you?
Sure.
Near it.
Sure, I can do that. So I'll make my dancing lights into a figure.
If you do that, you're going to lose the other spell you were holding if you were holding one.
Oh, that's fine.
Once she does that, I'm going to use Minor Illusion to enhance that humanoid shape to actually look like an actual being as opposed to just these spectral lights. If that's possible, give it more of a humanoid appearance.
Cast the spell into chat if you can. If you can. Oh, nice.
Yeah, spell cards seem to work. It's just attacks that don't.
That's why I wanted to layer it with her lights so it gives it shape, and I'm just manipulating the shape.
Kind of
Okay.
like 2 layers of illusions.
Okay. And what are the two of you doing?
I
just trying
want
to
her to cast
distract
that
it.
close to the thing. I want to see if it attacks the thing that looks human. That's close. If it seems aggressive towards it. That's my intention, at least.
To give it even more, I'm going to cast Minor Illusion as well, to give it a voice. I want it to just keep saying hello over and over. Hello. 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 In my own voice.
Okay. So the thing kind of stops when your illusion comes close to it. Like it's like a hard stop. It's probably within about 35 feet of you at this point. And it stops and it stares at the illusion. And something seems to be bothering the creature. Let's say something it was expecting to happen isn't happening. And it stops long enough to give you guys a moment here. What are you doing?
It just seems confused.
It seems confused. But it also sees you. Like its attention is drawn away temporarily, but it still knows you're there.
I look to the other 2 casters that have aided in this little ruse.
I have no idea what it's doing.
I just kind of shrug, like, I don't fucking know.
It's not responding. I think Marcus is right. Whatever this is, or was, I don't think it's alive any longer. At least not in the fullest sense of the word.
Does it look dead?
Yeah, it's pretty dead.
Yeah. Shall we just run away, or do we want to take care of it? Because I have a feeling this thing can catch up with us a lot better than I'm playing it can.
And about at this point, the thing is starting to shake loose. Like it's realizing that whatever it is an illusion, and it's breaking. It's basically breaking free from it. So you got to do something now.
We've already got the cactus behind us. We should minimize the things chasing us.
Probably.
Put him
I'm
to
gonna-
rest.
I'm gonna turn and tell all the combatants to stay back and just, I guess, ready myself for combat.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah, same thing. I'm gonna. God damn it!
You're gonna gibbling.
I'm not actually throwing it. I'm just putting it in my hand because I can sit there and hold it for like 10 minutes first.
okay.
So I'm not even trying the quarterstaff. It works so well against the scorpions.
Okay. So yeah, whoever is rolling. Ooh, yes. Sean didn't roll poorly for a change. Does anybody else? Giselle, initiative, please, if you're rolling. There you go. Okay. So, Yinkin, you're up first.
I am. I'm still not entirely sure what this thing is, but if it comes at us, I'm going to throw produce flame when it gets in range.
Okay.
But I'm just waiting.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the thing at this point, it breaks free. Like it realizes that, again, something is throwing it off. It recognizes something is wrong, and that's what kind of draws its attention. It looks like this,
I'm guessing it's an aura.
and
It's expecting an aura to have done something.
and so it's going to run at you guys. I know Marcus is close. I believe Gabriel is probably close. Does that sound fair?
Yes.
Like who's within 30 feet? Is anyone? Because if you guys were all clumped up and talking, right?
I would have been at
Yeah.
the front of the group with Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay.
We would have. I mean, we had to
would
be
have
within
had,
30
like,
feet of it
nine
for the minor
combatants move
illusion.
back.
Okay. So I need everyone within 30 feet to roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Oh my god.
Lovely.
Marcus saves. Giselle saves. Gabriel saves. Faith. We're missing one.
Yeah, I was the rear guard, so I didn't know if it's just with getting within range.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So you actually all save, surprisingly. Well done. But
Ooh,
what happens is you feel like, and Faith, Faith, are you at disadvantage? How does one level of exhaustion work?
No, it's just ability checks.
Okay.
Yep.
So all of you feel it as it runs at you, as it's getting close to you. You start to feel dehydrated as the thing is getting within range of you. Like you can almost feel it trying to pull your water away from you. But you are thankfully not successful, or you are successful. Jesus Christ. And the thing runs at you, and I think Marcus, it's going to, it runs within range of you, and it's going to take a couple claw attacks at you. What's your AC? I'm sure I don't hit. Marcus.
Oh, sorry, 15.
So the second one actually hits. So you take 7 slashing damage, which isn't terrible. And the thing is just, it's breathing in your face, and it reeks of like death and dust and decay. And you can almost see its skin like falling off in front of you. It's just so desiccated.
Ugh.
Okay. Next, Marcus, I think it's your turn. Yeah.
So I will I'll quarterstaff attack.
Ooh,
Natural
yes.
That hits. 6. Right?
Yeah, 6. And then
well, actually, so you get a really good whack, and the thing's not hard to hit necessarily, but for some reason it's not as effective as you think it should be.
all right. With my bonus action, I am going to heal myself with healing light.
Okay. Giselle, you're up.
Okay, I'm gonna do something really ballsy. I'm gonna use hypnotic gaze on it.
Okay.
So I can choose one creature that I can see within 5 feet. As long as he can see and hear me, it needs to make a wisdom saving throw. Unless it can't be charmed. If it's immune to charm, then...
I don't think it is.
So it needs to make a wisdom saving throw. The DC is 13.
Let me just see something real quick. What the hell? That was weird. Sorry. Oh, interesting. Okay. Does anyone know? Are there creature types that are just immune to charm?
Usually they say.
They usually
Yeah, there should be a conditions immunities section
Okay.
of the NPC.
Oh, it is.
Or
It is immune. I'm
immune to
sorry.
stuff like
It is
that.
immune to charm. You're right. I was looking in the wrong place.
Shit.
And it's just like in your face.
Well, that didn't work.
Okay.
I just want to look over to just don't say what didn't work. You just stared at it.
She was probably trying to talk to it. Having her
I was
rat.
trying to charm it.
Okay, Faith.
Faith is going to back away slowly. I'm assuming she's not within melee range of it quite.
Correct. Fair enough.
Yeah. But as I go, I'm going to lay my hand on Gabriel and say, "You are touched by the gods. Slay this thing." And I'm going to use Bardic Inspiration on him.
Okay. I think that's a bonus, right?
Yes.
So, do you have a primary action you want to do?
Yep. But I'm backing away to my full distance, and then I'm gonna pull out one of my 2 daggers, and I'm gonna throw it at the thing.
Okay, sure. Go ahead. Just flails off into the middle, like nowhere. You'll be able to find it easily, which is good.
Yeah, that's why I
just-
wasn't worried about throwing it. But I'm gonna get my full distance away from this thing.
Okay, Gabriel.
Jeez, we need to get rid of this thing. I'm gonna cast Magic Missile. Ugh. Not a lot of good rolls there.
You can add your inspiration to an attack roll. Oh wait, nope, it's
not-
damage.
Yeah, it's no
Yeah.
attack roll. It's just damage.
So it takes 8 damage.
Yeah.
Okay,
Force.
it's not bad. Yeah, so your magic missiles just pound into this thing right in front of Giselle, and it seems to I think Giselle, you're so close you can see like some of the tattered cloth and stuff is like getting ripped away from it, and some of its skin is like starting to slough off a little bit, whatever's left.
She's trying very hard not to retch.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else, Gabriel?
That's really all I can do.
Yinkin? You had pretty flame held.
Yep, I am going to get into range to throw it,
Okay.
and that means I'm probably going to make a con save at the same time, I'm assuming.
Do you have to be within 30 feet?
Yeah.
Then yes.
Okay, then throw that, which doesn't do me a lick of good, and
And you
Ugh.
fail your con save. So, take 1 level of exhaustion as it pulls your hydration away from you. So yeah, you take 1 level of exhaustion from it. You can just feel suddenly like your energy being just depleted. Excuse me. Now it is its turn. And Giselle, you're right in front of it.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm going to shield if it hits higher than 16, by the way. Or 16 or higher.
Excuse me.
Just saying that now. You're going to have to hit a 21 to hit me.
Well, hang on. Give me a minute, please. I'm trying to just debate on what it's trying to do. I think what it's actually going to do is it's going to try to like move a little bit past you so that it can get like, because Marcus, oh, you were right within melee, right?
Yeah, I was within melee, and
So
I
is
stood in front.
Giselle.
Yeah.
I'll move myself back here just for.
Okay.
Where
So
is
it's
the token?
definitely going to have Giselle and Marcus. What's the range on magic missile? Is it 30 feet?
It's like 120.
Okay.
Yeah.
it's pretty
So
Magic
it'll
Missile.
just try to do this to Giselle and Marcus since you guys are in melee. So you're gonna need to make a con save.
Okay.
Jesus.
Drought. Nope.
Nope. All right.
Nope.
So we're gonna roll 2d8.
Rip.
Nice. You both take 13
Jeez.
damage.
I'm at 1.
I'm unconscious.
Giselle is unconscious. So it just pulls all the water from the area completely, and you just feel it rip out of you, and Giselle is just immediately unconscious. Marcus.
All right, so I guess I didn't really want to use magic this, but I'm going to do Sacred Flame on this thing since my attack did not seem to hurt it very much last time.
Whoops.
Oh yeah, I got to do it from here.
Okay, so it makes a dex save. It fails, so it takes 5 damage.
5 radiant, and then
oh wait, it's radiant?
yeah.
Yeah.
Don't undead take double?
They used to. I don't know if they
don't.
still do in 5e.
Okay.
Depends on the undead.
It would say if he has some kind of
Yeah. Vulnerability.
Yeah, that's the
Okay.
word.
So yeah, you hit him with your Sacred Flame. And yeah, his body lights up, and a bunch of the robes light up as well.
Jeez, I wish it was a little too monk, but then I could take dodge as a bonus action.
Okay.
I am going to. Well, I can't. So I'm gonna. I guess I'm going to. Yeah, seeing Gwen just Giselle just kind of go unconscious next to me, I will reach my hand out towards her and do healing light on her.
Okay. So Giselle, you heal instantly for 5.
Yay!
And
Thank
As
you.
I see her eyes open, I say, "Do more than stare at it this time."
Now it's your turn, Giselle.
Okay, so I'll stand up. God damn it. And I'm gonna firebolt hit. Or not.
No, 14 hits. 14 definitely hits.
Okay, firebolt.
9. Nice. Good work. Yeah, so more of its like robes and stuff just fly away from your fire.
Well, I guess it's supposed to be John Parr, it's supposed to be plus should be 7 that she healed for, not 5. Because it was adding my strength instead of my charisma.
Nice.
I had it adding the wrong modifier.
Thank you.
Good
Even
catch, John.
more. Nice.
Okay. So unless you have a bonus action, Giselle, it'll be Faith's turn.
I don't think so.
Okay. Faith?
Faith was bad and didn't fill out one of her spells, so she's fixing it. But being back as I am going to cast Dissonant Whispers, and if you give me 2 seconds, I will get that thing out.
Mm-hmm.
That's the actual spell thing, and I'll roll the damage. Wisdom save of 13. So she just kind of, slight bit of song, essentially, but it's haunting.
Okay. Nice. Roll your damage. 9. Good. Okay. Yeah, so the thing like reaches up and just like grabs the sides of its head, and as it does, like you can see it's almost like pulling its own skin away, just trying to like get at whatever you're doing to it. And it's trying to scream, but it clearly has no tongue.
It actually has to use its reaction and move as far away from me as possible.
So it'll run. So if Marcus, if you want to take an attack of opportunity, if you have one.
Yeah, I will.
I have my
bash it with
quarterstaff
my
out. Do I also get one?
I mean, yeah, if you get an attack of opportunity, yeah. Marcus, that definitely hits. 10 damage. Giselle, that unfortunately does not hit. Marcus, as you hit it, you see like I think you hit it with your quarterstaff like in its leg, and its leg like caves in, so it's like hobbling away from whatever just happened from that song. And it is trying to get away, and it looks very, very badly beaten. Gabriel.
Yeah, I absolutely don't want this thing to get away and come back at us, so magic missile again.
Okay. Yeah, you absolutely kill this thing. What does it look like when you kill it with your magic missile?
These glowing bolts just leap from my fingertips and smash into it. One in the back probably sends it sprawling. Another one just right in the back of its head. The next one follows right into the back of its neck. Just blows it out.
Okay. Yeah, and the thing just like collapses down to the ground. And I think you notice a couple of things. One, when the thing collapses down to the ground, some dust kicks up from the ground, and you suddenly see like a bunch of very, very small insects just like flee the thing's body, just in like a random directions, just like run off, skitter, crawl, climb, whatever. And then you kind of turn and you see Chandra, who's got both her hands on the hilt of this dagger. She's completely frozen, just holding this dagger in front of her, just eyes completely wide in a state of utter panic. Jalen, the boy, is like standing behind her with this like weird grin on his face. The older man, did I give him a name? I think he has a name. Oh,
Yeah, I was just calling it the old man.
Yeah, the old man who actually doesn't have a name.
Steve.
He's just standing with his cane, just kind of observing this whole thing. You know, the two others have kind of like grouped up together and are just watching this happen. Yeah, the thing is dead.
I'd like to recover my dagger.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
Thank
can
you.
go and find it.
I am going to walk up to Marcus because I think he still looks pretty rough. Yeah?
He looks very rough. Looks on the state of, on the cusp of death, actually.
Just put a hand on his shoulder and say a couple of small words.
Okay. All right. So, Marcus, you
Nice.
cover.
And then also,
Thank you.
because I don't think we've stopped yet, while we're kind of stopped, everybody gets a berry.
Okay.
One more.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Like before, Faith will take it, but tuck it away for later.
Okay.
I eat mine right away, and then I also drink half my water skin.
You don't have any.
I make my water skin taste like wine and then drink it.
You don't have any.
What do you mean I don't have any?
Oh, is our
You
water
should
skins
read-
empty from that?
You should read the drought thing.
Oh yeah.
It's true.
I still reach for my water skin and go, God damn it.
Shit.
I offer you mine.
Ah, thank you. What
I
the
am
hell?
testing this, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
There you go.
There we go. All fixed.
Yeah. So
We need to find someplace sustainable.
yeah, you guys survived. What do you do?
No wonder nobody ever comes back.
Looking back at the crowd, the non-combatants especially, Chandra, who's obviously has her knife out, I kind of push it down and make her put it away. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff out here that is going to give us some trouble. Is there anyone else here that's ever held a weapon before, used a weapon before?
And Jalen runs up. He says, "I can do it. Give me a chance."
Faith just sneers slightly.
Alright, I only want you to use this when you need it. When we get a chance, I'll show you how to use it properly. And I'm going to give him my light crossbow.
Okay. Yeah, he'll take it. It's
sure
it's almost as big as he is. But yeah, he'll take it excitedly. And he kind of plays with it and stuff, and he almost touches the trigger, but realizes oh shit, that's gonna.
Yeah, put it away. Put it away. Again, I'll show you how to use it later. again, only if we're in dire circumstances will you pull this out.
And he gives you like this strong, stern look and just gives you like a confident nod. But you know he's probably going to shoot a member of the party by mistake. But you know,
Yeah.
you can try. So yeah, you guys successful. Congratulations. Moving on. Are you just continuing forth?
Sure.
Faith starts dragging behind a little bit more.
Okay.
I'll drag on behind with her.
Also, based on that creature's abilities, I'm going to veer us back further away from where it was, because the fact that it dried up all the water in, mine and Giselle's water skins makes me think that wherever it's been, we're not going to find any water. So,
Can I see the cactus?
No.
Like, we've gone too far, or it's not there?
It's not there.
Oh, hell.
Like, I don't think we established, like, the thing wasn't, you didn't see it following you.
No. I was checking back occasionally.
Yeah, no, it wasn't following you.
But now it's just not there.
Right.
Uh-huh.
But I think at this point we'd be far enough away that we wouldn't see it, right?
Could be that.
Okay.
there's not much to block your view here.
It's true.
Fair.
I will say that, again, because I'm towards the back. Well, the plant's gone.
Giselle, you get the same wary look everybody else has as you come near to her, and she tries to start drifting away.
I'm going to follow her.
I mean, you're all kind of
Hey!
going in the same direction, but yeah.
Hey!
What?
Hi, I'm Giselle.
What does it matter? What your name is?
Well, if we're going to
Nobody
travel
will
together,
remember it.
yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to remember me and Bastion for a while. I did kind of fuck shit up for them. And she just gives you a big smile.
Good for you. Now go away.
Aww. Aren't you lonely back here?
No.
Well, too bad. And she just kind of like walks along beside you.
She doesn't waste her energy trying to fight it, but you do get the occasional dirty look. But she looks, again, the exhaustion is very obvious, especially after combat.
I mean, Giselle's pretty fucked up too, but
Okay. So yeah, you guys are kind of hurt, but you're moving on. Jalen is definitely trying hard not to like get caught playing with a crossbow, but he's playing with a crossbow. And I think
Shoot your eye out.
I think as you guys are moving forward, the old man kind of like walks to the side of Jalen, and a couple of you hear him. The old man leans into the young boy. He says, "Maybe it's you who's going to die first." And he just like with this big ass grin on his face just keeps smiling and walking.
is this old guy fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Yep.
He doesn't talk to rats.
It's a familiar.
Yeah.
I just blink at you.
Okay. So you guys continue on, heading in general direction of the southwest. Your mountains are still growing a little bit in the distance, taking maybe a day or more, day or so, day and a half, don't know, to get there. Do you take another break for lunch? Midday break?
Sure, because we're going to need to heal.
Okay.
Yeah, short rest would be helpful.
Yeah. I'm going to take some hit dice too.
I will play a Song of Rest while we all sit.
Nice.
And again, because we're taking a rest and because I know at least 2 water skins are empty. Pot of
So
water.
you can all add 6 to one of your hit dice.
Nice.
Sweet.
So I'm actually full.
I'm gonna use my 2 sorcery points to regain a
Me too.
spell back. spell slot.
Alright. Arcane, I'm full up on spells now. Yay! Has it been 8 hours since we woke up?
I guess it doesn't. I'm not bothered if you say yes.
I mean, mage armor only lasts 8 hours, so I just want to know if I have to cast it again.
Yeah, I mean that's fine if you want to do that. Yeah.
All right.
Actually, also while we're resting, I want to know the weather for the next 24 hours. Because the weather isn't acting like I'm expecting it to. Like, I expected it to rain this morning, and it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little confused.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's okay. What you get is a small cloud overhead that is as dark gray as it can be without being black. Like, it looks like a storm cloud. Like, maybe there's even like little sparks of what you would interpret to be as like lightning.
Okay. Storm's coming.
Okay. So you guys take your break. Gabriel, do you take a minute to show Jalen how to like Jalen, I keep changing how his name is pronounced. How to use the crossbow?
Yeah. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time for me to like fully train him how to shoot and stuff like that, but I'll at least show him how to hold it correctly. Maybe try to teach him like basic targeting techniques, proper trigger squeeze, breathing.
Okay. All right, so you guys take your little short rest. You know, Yinkin passes out some more water, which some of you desperately need. I think Marcus and Giselle, you're still feeling like the after effects of that. Like you probably have a profound thirst after what that creature did to you, and it's probably makes you think like this place is pretty shit.
Yeah, it's pretty shit.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we knew it was going to be shit.
Yeah. Yeah, so you guys rehydrate and you take your rest, and then you're moving again. Back on the path, southwest. More of the same. You guys doing anything as you're hiking?
Just trying to chat up Faith.
I would actually like to look around to see if there's any kind of plant life, animal life, anything that actually seems like it would help with our survival in this place. Because the first day was just it was a blasted landscape. I want to know if it's improving at all.
Okay. You could make me. I would say it's going to sound strange, but either a perception check or a nature check, probably.
Okay. Perception works.
Perception is just like literally looking around to see if you think it's going to change, but.
Nope.
Yeah. Is it, like what is it that's distracting you from being able to, like, are you distracted? Are you still worried about that
between
cactus?
the exhaustion of I'm not entirely sure why I'm so like that thing creeped me out. That literally sucked up water from the air. That was creepy. And now I'm missing a cactus.
Mm-hmm.
So, does the cactus walk? Does it go underground? Is it a burrowing cactus? Do cacti burrow?
I told you I could leave my rat behind to check on it, but no.
I don't think those thoughts were out loud, but that's okay.
Oh, they were. We all looked at her disbelieving.
I did. Just nobody believes me.
You and your French, your talking French rat. Yeah, so you guys continue heading southwest, and it might be the case that after a few more hours of hiking, the mountains are getting closer in the distance. You're starting to make out more detail. And when you start, you're gonna hike for a few hours. You'll probably camp out another night, and then next day you're probably gonna start to move into. You're gonna get close enough that the geography should change a bit. Still pretty flat, but more mountainous than Badlands. You're seeing the mesas kind of grow up in the distance, but yeah, the sky's definitely going to get dark, and Yinkin has seen that you're expecting a storm the next day. So yeah, you guys walking along. The day is getting late. The sun is starting to set. Are you going to set up camp again?
We're still nowhere near any mountains or anything like that.
Probably the next day. Probably tomorrow.
Okay.
Is there anywhere nearby that looks like we could shelter a storm, or is it still that blasted landscape?
If you hiked through the night, you could get to somewhere safe before the storm hits.
Do we want to do that though?
That would give at least 3 of us 2 levels of exhaustion.
I mean, if it starts to storm in the middle of the night, I don't know what kind of rest we're going to get anyway.
Yeah.
We're concerned about being exhausted. We're just going to be miserable.
But this one over here, and she kind of
You are exhausted. Just
motions
so you know.
at Faith.
You know you are exhausted, right?
Yeah, well, I'm fine. I'm a big girl.
I wouldn't want one of those things coming at us in a storm, though.
Yeah.
Me either.
What about you, old man? Can you make it?
And he just gets this wicked grin on his face. He says, "Puh, I'm the only one who's going to survive this." And again, this wicked grin on his face.
Well, I like your outlook.
I don't. He just implied the rest of us are going to die.
He's been implying we're all going to die from the start.
And you hear him scoff audibly. Oof. Implying? I'm saying explicitly. All of you are going to die.
And how do you know this?
We all
weak.
die eventually.
Yeah, death comes for everyone.
And I just kind of look at Marcus as we kind of say the same thing in unison.
All men must die.
I'm
Yeah.
not a man.
He says, you're all weak. Cowards, fools, all of you. Especially that one. And he takes his cane and points it at Gabriel. All this hope, optimism, for what? And he's just the whole time he's saying it, he's just got this shitting grin on his face.
What is your
My
damage,
friend,
old man?
it just seems like you're surrendering your own life now. I've openly asked if anyone is willing to help, and you turned it away. The bravery of this boy eclipses your own masculinity. I'm not sure what your intent is for belittling everyone, but I don't think we're buying any of it.
Gabriel, was it? Perhaps we shouldn't feed into the chaos he's trying to sow among us.
We should get moving before the weather breaks on us.
Faith kind of nods.
Through the night, then.
Through the night.
Chandra, you going to be all right? How's your leg?
I think I'll be fine. I'll be okay. She looks at Gabriel and gives him a nod. I can go if we need to go.
All right. And I'm going to go over to the other 2 humans and pull out a torch and just cast light on it.
Is that smart? Won't it attract things to us?
They'll need to be able to see. Not all of us have good eyes, or has eyes like ours. Well, your eyes are really dark.
She just kind of sneers.
Okay.
Clearly, she feels insulted.
They're pretty, though. Very interesting sclera you have.
What's a sclera?
Well, normally it's the white part of your eyes, but I don't think she has whites in hers.
And she's just gonna, Faith's gonna push forward, like walk away from this conversation.
Okay. So you guys are
Oh,
trying
really
to.
nice backside too.
So you're trying to push through the night then?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, if no one else puts up a fight about it.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys continue on. The sun begins to set, and you continue marching. It's getting dark. The clouds are rolling in slowly. Yinkin, you're especially aware of it as of the kind of weather you're expecting for the following day.
Yep.
You march for several hours, and if you had camped, it would have taken you, maybe 2 or 3 hours to get to, a sort of shift in the geography, as it were. The land starts to kind of like level out. The terrain becomes less difficult. The mountains, there's like smaller mountains, like smaller mesas that are within, a dozen or so miles of you. The terrain starts to get more rocky, and you start to find some small like foliage and greenery that's growing on the ground. It's real dusty though here as well, which has its own problems. Excuse me, and within a couple hours, you can start to get to, a bit rockier terrain. The storm clouds are basically chasing you at this point. You're maybe like an hour or two ahead of them. Some of the other folks, the other exiles you're with, are starting to slow your progress because they're not used to pushing this hard. Not that you are necessarily either. But starts to slow you down a bit. And you start to hear from from a distance, lightning behind you. You can start to see it, and you hear the rumbling of thunder. You're moving down into this more mountainous terrain, and you start to see from behind you. You start to see these massive bolts of lightning that are arcing through the sky from the Badlands from whence you came, and they're starting to illuminate the sky, and you almost feel like you can see shapes in the light created by the lightning, things in the sky that you couldn't see before, maybe just didn't want to. But there's still no rain. Just thunder,
Creepy.
lightning, thunder, lightning. No moisture at all, no rain whatsoever. You pass into the mountains, or you start to. It's probably at this point, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, maybe 3. I mean, you've been pushing pretty hard. A lot of the other exiles are starting to wear. Jalen, the kid, he's got little legs. It's pretty hard for him. He's starting to really drag. You're having to almost pull him along to get him to keep going. What do you do?
I put this image up in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
If we come across anything like this, where it's just the beginning, like the foothills of a mountain, where it's just like a overhang, something that we can seek cover from inclement weather, I think I would encourage us to stop.
Yeah, I'll help you start looking for someplace because, again, I'm actually starting to get a little jittery because everything I know about when it's supposed to rain says there should be water. There isn't any. I don't like this.
Mm-hmm.
I made a living off of being able to tell if my crops are going to be able to grow or not. And now everything I thought I knew is getting kind of worked over.
Things in the sky.
Gabriel, why don't you roll for me? I'm thinking perception to see if you can find something like that. Maybe nature, I don't know. Good enough. So yeah, you scout out ahead, from everyone else. Just maybe, half a mile or so, just trying to find something that suits your needs. And you find kind of an overhang. It's pretty shallow, but it should suit your purposes. But there's rocky terrain beyond. You don't know what's there, so there's a danger, but it'll at least shelter you from the weather if that's all you need.
Yeah, I just think we're in danger regardless. We're walking around in the dark. There's obviously stuff that comes out at night that...
Especially with torches.
Again, if we have something like that where we could put our back to a wall, it could be easier to defend, easier to keep an eye on those of us who can't really fight. I just open it up to the party as an option.
Sounds good to me.
I am for this. I cannot stay awake much longer.
Yeah, we all need to rest. Somewhere to put our backs would be the best.
Okay, so y'all are gonna rest.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is anybody taking watch?
I can take watch. I only have to prance.
Yeah, I'll take first watch if nothing else, or I'll take a watch. I know I need to rest, but
Marcus will take watch, but he'll probably end up falling asleep. Like, he'll volunteer for it. But
as soon as they stop and her back's against the wall, Faith is out.
Okay.
I'll take second watch if Giselle's taking first.
Actually, I forgot I have proficiency in perception. Because elf.
Okay. So just Yinkin and Giselle are taking watch?
Seems like it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, who's taking first? Giselle?
I'll take first.
Okay, Giselle's taking first watch. Okay. So you're seeing the storm behind you. You're seeing the lightning strikes. They don't seem to be dissipating. They're at a good distance. Still no rain. The wind is starting to blow pretty fiercely. The storm doesn't seem to be letting up, but it's not a storm like anything you've ever seen. Roll me a perception check.
Okay, and this is at disadvantage because I'm exhausted.
Okay.
Ditch tackle. Disadvantage.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, so mostly all you can hear is the drowning of the wind. It's just drowning out everything else. There's still the lightning and what have you, but that's about all you're hearing. I imagine the old man is probably snoring, which isn't helping. But yeah, your perception is limited for sure. I mean, you've got your back to the wall. It's doing weird things with the sound.
I'm considering icing the old man in his sleep.
Okay.
But I'm not going to because that would be evil.
Yeah. And yeah, your watch passes uneventfully. Nothing seems to happen. You wake up Yinkin.
Rise and shine.
Yeah, Yinkin, you start your watch.
I'm assuming this is going to still be a disadvantage because we pushed through the night to get the second level of exhaustion, so I cleared one but still have one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Nice. That's not bad at all. So you notice two things. Because of when you guys went to bed, basically, for your long rest, it's already starting to be early morning. 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. So it won't be long before the sun comes up. The storm is still going. The sun's not up yet. You're seeing those lightning strikes. You're hearing the howling of wind. You notice two things. One, there's this strange, like, scratching sound. It sounds like it's coming from all around you. You can't pinpoint its location. It sounds like it's coming from a lot of different sources that are all very quiet, but there's so many of them that it's getting kind of loud. Like, that's why you can hear it. It sounds like it's behind you, it's below you, it's above you, it's everywhere. Just this, like, scratching, skittering sound. And as you're, like, listening to that and trying to figure out what it is, this massive lightning strike arcs across the sky from the Badlands. And it illuminates this, like, it looks small from a distance, but it looks like a cactus. I think we should pick up there next week.
God damn this cactus.
You guys have a pet. It's so good.
This is the cactus. This is like the tree and the bush that we lost in Storm King's Thunder.
It's following you through another campaign.
Yeah.
Probably going to try and kill us.
Well, because we abandoned it in Storm King's Thunder.
Yeah.
They were supposed to stick with me, and then they just never kept up, so...
It's campaign hopping is what's happening here.
But they were guarding Reginald's grave.
That was before the Sundering.
It's true. Weird things happen, man. World broke.
But it's just Barry Allen messing with the Speed Force.
Okay. So, yeah.
Ooh.
Nice. Ooh.
Okay, clarification question. We did take a second level of exhaustion before resting, yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm only at 1.
So, yeah, we're back down to 1 after.
So, yeah, whoever was at 2 will automatically be back at 1. Yeah. And then, we'll find out next week how that goes for you guys.
Are we going to level up?
Not yet.
Okay.
No.
Not yet. Don't start asking me that at the end of every session either, but no, not yet.
Well, I mean, the first couple of sessions, usually you level up real quick, so...
Yeah, well, don't ask me every time, otherwise I'm not going to give you levels. Like, I will annoy me enough that I'll be like, you're not getting levels. Just fair warning, being honest with you. Yeah, so we'll